This is case number 310 on the calendar in the matter of Siegfried versus McGeorge. Parties have been sworn. You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Ms. Siegfried, it is your complaint that the defendant reneged on an agreement that the two of you had when you entered into a contest. And the contest, which you'll explain to me, had as its prize a car. And you claim that the defendant agreed that if she won the car, she would either sell the car and give you half of the proceeds, but she would share the prize with you, and likewise, if you won, you would share it with her. She, in fact, won the car and refuses to sell it or give you half of its value. That's what the case is about.
Right.
So, this was a good friend of yours?
A very good friend of mine, yes.
Now tell me about the contest.
It was actually put on by a local radio station. The two of us...
Where?
In L.A. We were going to try to win tickets to see a particular group.
A group? What kind of group?
NSYNC.
I've heard of them.
We were trying to win concert tickets through this radio station, and we had been calling for over a week. We'd been trying very hard to win these tickets, and in the process, through one of the times that we called, Deanna was asked if she would like to participate in another contest that they had running at the same time, which involved sitting in a car for a week. And at that time, I was with Deanna when she was on the phone with the radio station. And
where were you?
We were actually in my car coming home from a mall where we were meeting one of the DJs from the radio station. And we had decided when we left the mall that let's try and win the tickets again. So she continued calling, and at that time she was asked, would you like to be in a car contest? And her response was, would this make me lose out on winning the tickets to the concert? And they told her yes, that you would not be eligible any longer to win the tickets. And she's like, well, I don't know. And I'm all, just do it. It'd be fun. Just do it. So she's decided now at this point that she's going to be in the contest.
All right. Now, what exactly was the contest?
She was to sit in a car for a week.
Alone?
No, there were other contestants that were going to be participating. The original rules set forth were that the person who stayed in the car the longest would win the car. And when myself and her went down to the contest, I drove her down there. We found out prior to the contest at the beginning that it would end on Sunday regardless of...
How many people's chochases was still in the car?
There were 2 cars.
Okay.
And in one car there were 4 people, and in our car there was myself, Deanna, and another contestant.
They couldn't get 4 people. They
That's
couldn't
correct.
get 4 lunatics.
That's correct. They suckered me into it instead.
Okay, so you got down there with her and they said, would you like to sit in the car too?
Right, they asked me if I would be interested in staying in the car because they didn't have enough contestants to participate. So they asked me if I would be interested in staying down there. I wasn't very...
Was it the same radio station that was running this contest?
The same radio station, yes, that was giving away the tickets for the concert, yes.
And at the end of the contest, which was going to be that Sunday, if everybody is left in the car, how do they choose a winner?
They drew straws.
They said it would be a drawing.
Right.
That's all they said.
Okay. So the 2 of you stayed in the car for the entire week?
Yes, we did.
Is that right?
Yes.
How were you fed?
How were we fed? We were sponsored by a local restaurant that
They just gave you the food in the car?
They brought us meals throughout the day.
And what about potty breaks? How do you do that?
They specified them as 3-hour breaks. And at that time, we were able to get out of the car for 15 minutes and do what we needed to do, to stretch and what have you.
And what about sleeping? You just slept whenever?
They slept in the car. I personally did not sleep for 4 days straight, but we slept in the car.
In the car?
In the position that we were sitting in. We were never able to leave the position of the car that we were in.
What if you had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night?
You went in the car.
Seriously?
Nobody actually did that.
We never had that come up, but yes, that would have been...
Or you get out.
Or you get out of the car and go to the bathroom.
And then you're out of the contest?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And sometimes they didn't wake us up to go.
I would never last in a contest like that. Okay, so the end of the week came, and it's on Sunday, and the 3 of you were left in your car?
Right, correct. The other car, they had already designated a winner.
So, drew straws.
Correct.
And you picked?
It was actually numbered straws, and they had corresponding numbered envelopes that had keys in the envelopes. And I picked a straw with the number 2 on it and the envelope number 2, and they said whatever key started the car, that person was to win the car.
And you won?
Yes.
So now tell me about this contract that you allege you had with her. Because it's clear that she decided not to sell the car. She decided to keep the car. Friendship's over. She said, I'm not selling the car and I'm not giving any money.
Correct.
Now tell me your version of the contract that you had with her.
Okay. Simply, while we were sitting in the car, her and I discussed that we would sell the car and split the money from the car. And in the process, we would also win tickets to see NSYNC. One of us would get the tickets and we would split everything.
Okay, and did you get the NSYNC tickets?
Yes, I did.
And did you go with the defendant?
I did take the defendant to the concert.
So far, that's all right. Now tell me about your understanding of this agreement that you had with her.
As far as the agreement goes, when we got in the car together, she had mentioned something about if either one of us wins the car, let's sell it and split the money. And I had said, I don't want to agree to anything just yet. I don't know what the outcome of the contest is. So I can't say yes or no. I don't want to say yes or no because I don't know if I'm even going to win. I don't know if you're even going to win.
And this was a conversation that you said you had as soon as you got into the car?
It wasn't directly right when we got in the car, but
Within a day or so?
the first day.
Within the first day? And you stayed in the car together for 5-6 days?
Nothing else was ever
And
mentioned.
did you speak to each other?
Yeah.
Friendly, laughing? Then I don't believe you. And I'm going to tell you why I don't believe you.
Okay.
If she's your friend, and what she's saying is absolutely right, the two of you being in this contest certainly increased your chances of winning.
Right.
You got much better odds with the two of you deciding that whoever wins, it's going to be like a joint winning.
Right. Except that the whole reason I was doing this was because I was in some financial problems, and if I were to win the car, I wanted to use that to help
And what
me
if you lost everything? You think that if you lost everything, you would take the same position as you're taking now? No, you wouldn't.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Deborah Siegfried says former friend Deanna McGeorge refuses to share a car they won in a radio contest. Deanna says they only agreed to share another prize, tickets to an NSYNC concert.
So you had financial problems, but you made an agreement with her. And the agreement was that if either of you won this contest, you were going to share the prize money.
I
And how
never
could you
made
not?
that agreement.
Yes, you did. Sure you did. You may have put it in the back of your mind, forgot about it, said, it's not really what I meant. I said I would sell the car, but now I'm not going to sell the car because I really want the car. I'm going to keep the car, so where am I going to get money to give you? And forget it, and the friendship is over. It's really outrageous, Miss McGeorge. How long had you
Well,
been
that wasn't
friends?
exactly how it happened. We had been friends up way after the contest, and I had explained to her that I wasn't going to sell the car, and she was fine with that. Nothing was ever mentioned from the contest from the time of, I would say, April until about September. September is when she started all this.
Why?
Because we had gone on vacation in August together, and we both had some mishaps. We got in an argument, and when we got back, I hadn't called her for a couple days, and she left me a message on my voicemail, which I thought was very rude, and I didn't want to call her back. I was just wanting to take some time away from her because we had been in arguments, and I decided that I wasn't going to call her back.
Had you discussed between the time that you won this contest and the time you went on vacation what you were going to do with the car?
When I actually received the car in April, I had told her that I decided I was going to keep the car.
And what did she say to you at that point?
She really didn't say anything. We were in the gym, and she walked out on me.
She was
and-
angry.
Yeah, I understand
She was
that.
angry.
I understand that.
Well, I just want to make sure that that's clear, that that was not, at least as far as she was concerned, her understanding.
Right.
You said to her, I decided to keep it. Bye. So she was angry. Another thing, did you win the concert tickets to NSYNC as a sort of a second prize?
I was given concert tickets to see NSYNC and also some tickets to another group.
How many tickets were you given to NSYNC?
At the time, they were only going to give me 2, but she had asked me if I could please ask the gentleman to get us 2 more because we had
I
planned
didn't
on.
ask her to.
I had asked on. We had planned on taking her niece and her niece's friend to the concert as well. So she thought that if I asked him for 4, he might give us 4, and then all 4 of us could go together.
But if you hadn't gotten the 4, and if you just got the 2, who was supposed to go?
It would be Deanna and myself.
And you, in fact, went.
Yes, we did.
So you split that prize money.
Yes, I did.
Or that prize, whatever it was.
Correct.
Isn't that registering with you?
Yeah,
Huh?
that register's just completely fine with me.
You're better off without her. You got it? Not an honorable person. What kind of car did you win?
It was a Kia Rio.
You have the value?
Yes, I do. I have 3 invoices.
Can I see it, please?
You wouldn't do that to me, would you?
I sure wouldn't. You wouldn't do that to me, would you?
No, never.
Huh? Your lawsuit is for $5,000, which is maximum allowed in this court. Correct. Clearly half of the value of the car. Were there any things that you had to pay for on the car? Did you have to pay any taxes on the car?
Yes, I had.
What
to
kind
pay.
of taxes did you have to pay?
The tax, title, and license.
Other than that, you have to pay income tax on winning.
Yeah, we haven't received anything yet because it comes at the end of the year. It's a winning a prize tax.
Do you know how much it is?
I'm not exactly sure how much it is.
Do you work?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
Customer service retail.
How much do you earn?
Approximately $10 an hour.
A year.
About 20,000.
So you're probably in the 15% bracket, is that right?
That'd be about right.
Even deducting for the taxes that you would have to pay and that she would have to pay on these winnings and the tags and everything else, it's still in excess of the $5,000, which is the limit of this court, and I'm awarding you $5,000. You have to be an honorable person, that's all.
Thank
But
you, Your
you're
Honor.
excused. You may step out.
I feel that Judge Judy was very fair, and she took the time to listen to what I had to say, and I think she truly understood the facts of the case.
I think it's completely wrong that she should be getting $5,000.
I truly never wanted our friendship to end. I can't speak on Deanna's half, but I never wanted it to come to this.
It was never a complete agreement. We never agreed on anything at all.
Yeah, this is case number 165 on the calendar in the matter of Marafino versus Waitches. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Ms. Marafino, you and the defendant were married, divorced, and according to your complaint, tried to reconcile. The reconciliation did not work out, and it is your claim that the defendant has a television set that belongs to you, in addition to other personal property.
Yes.
The defendant says that the television set was a gift to him, and he has a counterclaim. The counterclaim says that you cleaned out his bank accounts, that you owe him for some medical bills, and some important papers that he wants. Is that right?
That's correct.
So let's get some dates. When did you try this reconciliation?
I moved back in on December of 2000.
For how long?
I moved out again on March 20th.
Okay. And when did you purchase this television set?
March 2nd, it was purchased.
What kind of television?
It was a Mitsubishi large screen, 50-inch, I believe.
A man's television. You want me to tell you how I know that, Mr. Marafino? Bert, don't look so disgusted. I'm going to tell you. I have a lovely living room in my house that I spent a great deal of time trying to make just perfect. Right in the corner as you walk in is this monster 55-inch television set. That is the ugliest thing I ever saw. It's not mine.
This one's mine, Your Honor.
Okay. So tell me the circumstances surrounding you purchasing it.
We discussed it, and I said that I would buy it, and I bought it. There was no mention of a gift. It was not a gift.
It's not true.
Just a minute, I'll get to you in a minute. At that point, you were living together as a family. Is that right?
Correct. We were not married at the time.
I understand, but you were living together as a family.
Yes.
How are the bills being handled?
My income and his income went into one joint account, and they were paid out of that one account.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Where did the money come from for this television set? From the joint account or from your individual account?
You have to excuse, I only have a copy of my tax income return.
Just answer my question.
Okay.
The money, did you pay
Was
cash?
a tax income refund.
Just a second. Did you pay cash
No.
for this television set?
It was a check,
From where?
our joint account.
That's what I'm asking you, so let's just get to it. What you're saying is you both pooled your money into a joint account,
Yes,
and from that you paid all the bills.
yes,
And when you got your income tax refund, it went into the joint account.
yes,
And it was from the joint account that the television was paid from.
yes.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Now, you explain to me why, sir, you believe this was a gift to you.
Basically, I had wanted a big screen TV, and we were saving up money to make that purchase or whatever. She said she was going to be getting her income tax check back and put it in the account, and that she was going to buy this TV for me as a present. And eventually we were going to save up some more money, and the agreement was that eventually we would purchase a hot tub. Basically, that's what she wanted.
Did you get a tax refund that year?
Did I get a tax refund? Yes, it was after we had separated already.
Let's say, sir, that this was not a gift to you. This was something that was purchased for the household. For the household.
Okay.
Then you would have to distribute the property. Now, let's say this came out of joint funds.
Mm-hmm.
But you kept the property, right?
That's correct.
And it's brand new property. It's not something that was purchased 10 years ago.
That's correct.
You got to pay for it, unless you want to give it the television set.
That's correct.
Oh, then we've resolved the whole issue.
Well,
How much was the television
Your Honor,
set?
Your Honor.
$1,960.
I have
Your
a
Honor.
letter here, though, stating that she had accepted her losses and that she's moved on.
Your Honor, that was
And-
before I filed the lawsuit.
Just a minute. I'll take a look at your letter. I'll take a look at your letter.
That was a letter I received a few days after she had come and taken everything.
You mean you want me to read the part where she says, I've cut my losses with my possessions and have moved on?
Right, correct.
Give her the money for the television set, sir. You watching it? You watching it? It's in your house?
Yes.
Then you pay her for it. It came out of a joint account. But as you said, most of it was paid for, or if not all of it was paid
All of
for
it,
out of
Your Honor.
all of it was paid out of her money, and the expectation was you were going to save up more of your joint money and buy her what she wanted.
That's
the
correct.
relationship terminated before that, so she never got her end of the deal, which was her hot tub. Right?
That's correct, but...
Good.
Okay.
$1,960 television set. Personal property. What kind of personal property are you talking about?
My son's sporting goods stuff, I had a police escort, so there wouldn't be any problems. The police officer told us both that whatever he said I could have is what I could get because he owned the home. I asked for a walkthrough of the house. I didn't really see anything, and the TV was nowhere in the house. Anyway, my stuff and my son's stuff...
Where'd you move the TV?
Your Honor,
Where'd you move the TV? It's a big TV to move. Where'd you move it?
to a friend's house.
Why? Why?
Because I didn't want any trouble. I didn't want to be fighting and starting a fight. We had problems with our relationship.
first
She
you
left.
got-
She cleared out the whole
I'll get to
checking
your
and savings
counterclaim in
account.
a minute, sir. Do you have her son's sporting equipment?
Yes, I do.
Where is it?
It's in the garage.
Good. You give it to him. What else?
That's
assorted clothes, assorted kitchen stuff,
Forget it.
a treadmill.
You have her treadmill?
Your Honor, that treadmill was at the house, and when she came to get her possessions, she said that it would not fit in her house, and she left it on the back patio.
It's still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
You want to make arrangements to go and get it? Go and get it.
Well, Your Honor, it's been out in the rain. It was.
You should have filed your lawsuit before. You're not going to get money for it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Maria Marafino says ex-husband Felix Wages owes for a big screen TV and the return of her property.
Now, you say that she cleaned out a bank account. What bank account did you clean out and when?
It was our joint account, basically the day after she had left.
Can I see it? Just a minute. Did you withdraw money from the checking account?
There was $1,400 in the checking account. I took out $700.
There was two right in a row there, Your Honor. One for $700, one for $726 right underneath it.
Yeah, and you must have took that out because, Your Honor, I did not.
Well, there's one on the 25th and there's one on the 26th,
Right,
sir,
that's-
so I can't tell. You might have taken one out the next day. Is that possible?
Not that I recall, I did not.
Well,
I mean,
not that you recall.
Well, I know for a fact I did not.
Fine.
That's-
If she was going to clean out the checking account, she would have done it on the same day.
Also, Your
Well,
Honor,
now, Your Honor, on there, on the second page, you can see she went back into the account the next month and withdrew more money out of the account. She proceeded to
You're
use...
talking about $41.75?
Your Honor,
and
I
she
did
had
take
told me-
$40 out, and $175 I think was a little ATM charge
Why did you take it out the following month?
because I needed food, groceries. I
Okay, but
went
you'd
out
already
with.
taken out your half.
Oh yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So he gets credit for $41. Okay. Now the savings account. You took
There
the
was
whole thing.
$305 in the savings,
Right.
and I took out $300 of it.
That's not half. Did you both put money in the savings account?
No, Your Honor, he has a business account that he was putting money in as well that had over $1,000 in it at the time.
No, that doesn't answer my question. were you both putting money in the savings account?
Yes.
Then you were only entitled to half, not the entire amount.
Okay.
So he gets credit for $150. Okay.
Can I explain why I'm actually asking for more money?
No, I'm not interested why you're actually asking for more money.
Well, Your Honor,
I'm not interested. Anybody who takes the television out of the house so that it's not there, I'm not interested in what they have to say about that. You took out half, you have half. Now, let's hear about the medical bill, sir. That's another part of your counterclaim.
when we had gotten back together again, I had received an income tax check. I had signed the income tax check over to her to get a breast enhancement, and basically I figured if she could give this TV as a present to me and ask for it back, that was a present to her.
He'd like my implants back?
Forget it. What's next? It's an interesting theory. Let's go. Next. Papers.
She has papers from the house, mortgage papers and everything like that.
Is the house in your name?
Yes, it is.
Those his papers?
Yes, ma'am.
Give them to him.
This was in one of the garbage can bags that he packed of my stuff.
It's not
They're all
very
there.
organized. 191. So $1,769 for the television set if he's going to keep
Your
it.
Honor, it's out of a joint account. I don't understand that.
Is it back in your house?
Yes, it's in my house.
You've moved it back.
Yes.
Pay for it. Even
It's just-
listen to me. Even if I take what your excuse for this television set was as gospel, the agreement was that since she was getting the money at that point, and I'm speaking and you're not receiving,
Okay, I'm hearing what you're saying, Your Honor.
that the television set was going to be purchased first, and then when you got your money, your tax refund, you would purchase the hot tub with your money that would go into the joint accounts because that's what she wanted. Well, that contract was never fulfilled. It was never fulfilled because
Okay.
I'm speaking and you're not receiving. You're going to try to talk around me, over me, through me. It's not going to work. Your contract, therefore, with her was not fulfilled. Then she gets either the television back or the money for the television back. $1,769 judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
After now, we will never be together again.
I think he's a selfish, evil man.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Harvey versus Hyatt. Step forward, please.
Student Tammy Harvey is suing her ex-boyfriend, mechanic Glenn Hyatt, for the cost of breast reconstruction surgery. Glenn says Tammy's surgery is not his responsibility.
Ms. Harvey, the defendant is a former boyfriend of yours, and it is your claim that he promised to pay for some repair work on breast implants that you had while you were together. You've since broken up, and he refuses to pay for this reconstructive kind of surgery, which you have not yet had. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Were you living together?
At one point,
When?
from March till December of the past year.
And you had breast augmentation surgery previously, is that
Yes.
right? When? How old were you?
27.
Okay. So when you were 27, you had breast augmentation surgery for the first time. Did you ever have any subsequent surgery?
Yes, I had problems.
What kind of problems did you have?
With the first set, I had hardening, which they took them out and put saline and silicone in, where they would enhance them gradually so it wouldn't build up the scar tissue.
And how
then
old were you when that happened?
all of this happened within 5 years. I had like 5 surgeries.
5? When you were 27, you had the first surgery. When did you have the next one?
Like the year after that.
Why?
After the hardening, they wanted to take out the bulbs that they used to put the saline in. And when he took the bulbs out, he wanted to just put in a new fresh set with the upgraded implants.
So that's when you were 28.
Right.
When did you have the next surgery?
It was a couple of weeks after that I developed a staph infection, and they removed the right breast implant, and then I went a year without an implant.
Without.
Right.
Miss Harvey, you went and had the implants put in again.
I had to because the skin had stretched so much. The doctor said it wouldn't look normal if he hadn't put another implant in there to replace the...
So then you were 29.
Correct.
So now I have 4 surgeries. When was the 5th?
The year after that, after the staph infection, he put new saline implants in, and then they were fine for the next 8 years.
What happened 8 years later? So at that point, you're about 38.
Right. I started dating the defendant, and I was having some problems. They were hurting. We massaged them together, Glenn and I, and in an intimate moment, the right one, it ruptured. And it took some time before the saline came down. But over time, you know, it was obvious, and it made a real impression on my self-esteem and everything. And the defendant and I were engaged to be married, and we were getting his finances in order so we could be married. So I was taking care of the majority of the bills and helping him. And when it came time for me to have my surgery, because last summer we couldn't enjoy going to the pool and everything like that, that's when he took me to the doctor. I had 2 consultations, and the surgeries were between $6,400 and $6,700. At that time, the defendant did a quick app financing the surgery, but it was denied. And now, you know, I wanted to get this taken care of because it is noticeable, and I have pain because scar tissue builds up around the implant where it is because it's flat now, it's not smooth, and I have a lot of pain, and psychologically it's just hurting me, and he's backed away from his commitment to me.
Well, I didn't hear about a commitment.
We've talked over the 2 years about taking care of it.
As a couple?
As a couple.
When you were sharing expenses?
Correct.
Okay, you want to say anything, Mr. Height?
I just deny any responsibility for ever saying that I would pay for her surgery, and I had nothing to do with it, with her implant rupturing.
I have a quick app that he said he would pay for it, and I have the doctor's with a picture.
Okay, go ahead.
I filled out that application to help her get the money, you know, for financing her surgery. That's the only reason that I did it. It wasn't to say that I would pay for it.
I think that there is some truth somewhere in the middle of your 2 statements, and that is that it was contemplated that as a couple, since you were going to be pooling your money at some point if you got married, this would be a joint debt because you were filling out the credit application if you couldn't get credit, and you were going to be a couple and move on, and this was just going to be one of the things that you had to pay off. Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay, so that's somewhere in the middle of he promised to pay for it and I didn't promise to pay for it. It was going to be a family debt. But you're no longer a family, Miss Harvey. That's your problem. There has to be a reason.
I put most of our debts for the past 2 years on my credit cards to help him get out of debt in the promise that we would be married. And I did have a promise he would pay for it. He's not telling the truth. He said he would pay for the surgery.
Oh, I think that it was a family obligation that when you were together, you put the majority of your money to use paying off debt. That was a nice thing. However, that does not create a promise that he would take care of this for you. I have just a couple of questions, Mr. Height. How much do you think she paid off in debt for you over the short time that you were together?
I don't recall her ever paying anything off for me. We took some trips and went to eat and things like that on her credit card. But as far as her taking money and paying any of my financial responsibilities, monthly debts and bills, that never happened.
So what you're saying is that she relieved you of certain stress by paying for your entertainment and
Living
your vacations
expenses.
and some living expenses.
He lived free.
Did you pay rent when you were living together?
I did not pay rent. I paid the utilities.
Not always. I paid 7 out of 5 times for the utilities.
I mean, you paid 5 times out of 7 months.
No, he was
Can't
more.
pay 7 out of 5. That math doesn't work. Miss Harvey,
Yes.
the romance is over. It's sad that it's over. And I'm not going to give you any medical advice because I'm not a doctor, but it seems to me a substantial part of your late 20s, early 30s, and now beyond are involved in recuperating from surgery. Maybe you should just say, this was not meant to be.
The doctor said that I would have to have the surgery, and the implants needed to come out because of chance of infection, and that
Do you have medical insurance?
No, I don't. They won't cover it because it's cosmetic.
Well, this isn't cosmetic if the doctor says it has to come out. For medical reasons, a chance of infection, then that's not a cosmetic reason.
They both
Ms.
denied my insurance.
Well, then I would appeal it, because if what you're saying to me is that you have medical proof that this is dangerous to your health, then your insurance should pay for it. They may not pay for the reconstructive part, but they certainly should pay for removing them. In any event, I find that no promise existed, no contract existed between the plaintiff and the defendant for him to assume the full responsibility of your surgery. And unfortunately, Ms. Harvey, I think you're going to have to assume the responsibility of this surgery yourself. Case is dismissed, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Link versus Boo. Step forward, please.
Business owner Joyce Link is suing her neighbor, carpenter John Booth, for damage to her vehicle. Joy says a drunken John fell against her van.
Miss Link, the defendant is a neighbor of yours.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim that he and a bunch of his drunken friends were coming home one evening and fell on your car or van, causing a dent in the van.
Yes.
Mr. Booth says it wasn't him.
Okay.
So tell me when this happened.
It was on a Saturday night, February 16th, 2002, around 12:31 a.m. in the morning. Me and my husband and children were in our house asleep, and we were awoken by some loud voices outside. So we got up, me and my husband, and looked out our bedroom window, and it was Mr. Booth and 4 of his friends. They were drunk, falling into our van and my next-door neighbor's bushes. And we proceeded to go outside, me and my husband, and I asked them to please get off my vehicle. And the next thing I know, Mr. Booth is yelling about, you know, him and his friends.
No, what was he saying to you, Miss Link? I've heard everything.
He was yelling that we woke my effing neighbors up, and one of his friends had apologized for being on our vehicle. He told me that he was sorry, and Mr. Booth yelled, "Sorry, hell, I fell." I have pictures of my vehicle and my neighbor's bushes that happened that night.
Okay. Can I see them?
On the matter, and no one would come to the door, so my husband had wrote a note and taped it to his front door. Then on Monday morning, I was on my way out, and Mr. Booth's wife had approached me.
What was the note? What did the note say?
That they needed to get in touch with us about the damages that was done to our van due to him and his friends being drunk that Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Booth's wife, seen the damages, and she said that she would let her husband know, and to get an estimate, and the damages would be taken care of.
Did Mr. Booth ever contact you?
Yes, that evening. Again, I was outside, and he approached me, and he apologized for what happened and told me that him and his friends don't remember anything. They were too drunk. Again, he did apologize, and he said to go get an estimate that he would take care of the damages. So I did go get an estimate, and I left it on their door because that's how we were notifying each other. So I did go get the estimate, and I left it taped to his front door.
Okay. Mr. Booth?
So far, everything's semi-right. Yeah, we did go out and get drunk. We got a little carried away. The wife was feeling sick, so we went up to the neighborhood bar so I wouldn't bother her. We were up there partying, got a little carried away, come on home. We were pretty intoxicated, okay, yeah. And when we passed her house, the guy that actually did the damage, him and his girlfriend were lagging behind me. I was already in my driveway when her car got damaged.
Were these people that you were out drinking with, were they men or women?
Both. We were all couples.
Well, not you weren't a couple. Your
No, I
wife
was in front.
Shh. Let me finish, sir. You weren't a couple. Your wife was sick.
Yes.
That means there were 5 of you.
Yes.
And where were these 2 couples going from the bar?
To my house.
What were they going to do in your house?
They're going to spend the night.
So they were invited guests of
Yes.
yours. And you escorted them to the bar?
Mm-hmm.
And then you all got drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were escorting your friends, invitees of yours, back to your home for the purposes of sleeping there.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Then I don't give a rat's behind who it was that fell on the van, sir. You're responsible.
Okay,
Okay! That's good. That's what you should have said 3 months ago. Mr. Booth, in the last few months, how much money have you sent then towards the repair of the car?
I don't feel like I sent anything.
What do you mean
I
you don't
didn't do the
feel like?
damage.
Didn't you just follow what I said? Didn't you just follow what I said?
Okay, I was escorting him back to the house. He fell into the van.
You were responsible for your guests. If your guests become rowdy, and as a result of their being rowdy, cause damage to the neighbor's property, they don't have to go around and hustle and find out the names and addresses of your guests.
I gave it to her.
You're responsible, and if you feel as if your friends are responsible, you go get the money from them.
I was trying.
I'm trying. What do you do for a living?
I'm a carpenter.
Mm-hmm. The lowest estimate that you have, Ms. Link, is $519.66.
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff. If you have friends, you make sure your friends are well taken care of, sir. And if they cause damage, you are responsible. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Peterson versus Thornhill. Step forward, please.
20-year-old college student Serene Peterson is suing her former friend, administrative assistant Jasmine Thornhill, for unauthorized use of her credit card. Jasmine says she had Serene's permission.
Ms. Peterson, the defendant was a good friend of yours. You claim, however, that she stole your credit card and used it without your permission, racking up tremendous bills for which you are responsible. The defendant says she did, in fact, use your credit card. She used it with your permission. You had an arrangement where she would pay the bill, and she was perfectly prepared to honor that arrangement. You knew her for a long time?
Around 6 months.
When do you claim she stole your credit card?
December 15th, I was over her apartment on a social engagement. When I left, I accidentally left my wallet with my credit card inside her apartment.
Go ahead.
2 days later, after searching my belongings, I called her and asked her if she had it. She says that she did, and I went over and I retrieved it the same day.
Your credit card?
Yes.
Go ahead.
After that, everything was fine until I received my statement. That was in mid-January. The statement had some charges, along with the charge that I purchased for Ms. Thornhill while I was at her apartment.
What do you mean the charge that you purchased for her?
When I was over her apartment on the 15th, she asked me if she could use my credit card to purchase something online. I agreed to make the purchase for her.
What did you purchase for her online?
An online thing from Pier 1 for $62.67.
Can I see that bill, please?
Yes.
Now you have certain things highlighted.
Yes, those are all of the charges that Ms. Thornhill made, except for the one on December 5th.
You have one here for December 19th.
Yes, that's correct.
But you got your credit card back on December 17th.
Yes.
You have something on the 18th.
There are a series of charges made after December 15th, extending onto May. I have a complete list. All of the charges I did not make, Ms. Thornhill made.
Let me hear your version of how you got this credit card.
Sure, Your Honor. Prior to December 15th, I had asked Ms. Peterson if I could use her credit card in order to make some online purchases for Christmas and some other purchases as well. She said it was no problem. She would come to my workplace in the next couple of days and she would give me the card so I could go ahead and do that. She came to my workplace as agreed and she left the card in my possession. After that, I proceeded to make a few of the online purchases and I asked her, was it okay if in the coming couple of weeks, if I needed, if I could use it again? And Ms. Peterman's statement to me was, well, hey, I don't have a job right now. You're working full time. If you want to use it, just make sure you pay the bill. I'll send the statements to you and we won't have a problem. So I began to use the card under the verbal agreement that we had made. Ms. Peterson got her statement in mid-January. I asked her what the amount was she going to send that to me? She said no, because of the fact that she had made a charge in December herself. She'd go ahead and take care of that payment. She said, but then when the rest of my charges became evident in the February bill, that I would begin to be responsible for it. In February, as agreed, she mailed me the payment, and I have proof of that because I sent in a money order to make that payment.
Your Honor, may I say something, please?
Go ahead.
After Ms. Peterson reviewed that statement, and I sent a copy of it to her, of the statement itself, along with a copy of the money order to her in the mail as proof that I had indeed made that payment. Then came February, and she received a statement, and she was very concerned by the growing balance. I told her, I said, I can understand that, but it just so happens that you and I have a different standard of the way that we live. I understand some of the things I might buy may appear expensive to you, but I'm expecting tax money. I'll definitely use some of that towards lowering the balance, and I will definitely honor our initial agreement. I don't in any way want to...
stick you.
Right, exactly. March came along. That's when Ms. Peterson, I think, she started to get really upset.
Well, just show me the rest of the payments that you made.
That's the only payment that I made successfully.
Why?
That was the only statement that she sent to me.
In February?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you make purchases in March?
Those actually, ma'am, were purchases that I had made in February that were on back order.
Then you cancel them. What are you, nuts?
No, honestly, ma'am, you're right. That's something she certainly could have done.
All right, Miss Peterson, let me tell you what I think. I think you lied to me when you said she stole your card and you had no knowledge of the fact that she was using your card till you got these statements. Let me tell you why. Because if I got a statement in the month of January that showed unauthorized usage of my card, And since you weren't using the card at all, correct?
Correct.
Then you cut up the card, you call the company immediately, and you say, discontinue this card, I'm canceling this card, no further purchases are authorized. You didn't do that.
I did, Your Honor.
No. If you did that immediately, in January, is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Then you are not responsible for these. If you canceled your card, and they continue to allow someone else to use it in an unauthorized way, you are not responsible.
When I called them in December, they told me that they had been trying to contact me because they had red flagged my card because of suspicious behavior. They had also told me that someone called up and got my card reactivated. Numerous times I called them and I canceled my card.
Do you know her mother's maiden name?
No, ma'am.
Do you know her social security number?
I don't know by heart, but I did know it.
Good. Did you ever call to reinstate her card?
No, ma'am.
No. Miss Peterson, what happened is that you let her use your card.
I did not.
Then if these are unauthorized charges on your account and you did not give her permission and you canceled your card, then you are not responsible for these.
That's what I told Bank of... However, they told me, because I told them that I knew who was making the charges, I said, I can direct you to the person who is fraudulently using my card. They said that it's a civil matter now and that I have to bring up the charges against her because they are not going to take them off.
No, that's not true. Call the police. Madam, if what you're telling me is that somebody stole your credit card and used your credit card without your permission, call the police and have her arrested. Simple as that. They're going to arrest her and you won't be out any money. You won't be out any money if what you're telling me is true. What you're telling me is true, correct?
Yes.
Right? You didn't give her permission to use your card.
No.
You're sure of that?
I'm positive.
Then you don't have anything to worry about. Call, have her arrested for grand larceny. You are not responsible for the payments because you did, in fact, cancel your card.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I did.
Perfect. Then we have nothing to worry about. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Campbell versus Mason. Step forward, please.
16-year-old Katie Campbell and her mother, Kathy Campbell, are suing Katie's former friend, 17-year-old Tim Mason, and his mother, Tamara Mason. Katie says Tim cut her hair against her will.
Miss Campbell, this is your daughter?
Yes.
And you're suing on her behalf. Is that right?
Yes.
And Miss Mason, this is your son?
Yes.
And you're defending this suit on his behalf because you are how old, sir?
17 years old.
All right, so I'd like all the mothers to sit down, please. I'm going to make short work of this. Miss Campbell, it is your complaint that the defendant assaulted you by cutting your hair off.
Yes.
And you want him to pay all sorts of damages because you wanted to be a model and it took you 5 years to grow your hair. And that was your crowning glory and he made a mess of it when he cut it. Is that right?
Correct.
Is this the young lady that you were with when he cut your hair?
Yes.
All right, you step up here. Let's do this very, very fast.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 16-year-old Katie Campbell says former friend, 17-year-old Tim Mason, cut her hair against her will. Katie says it's been a serious setback to her modeling career.
You wanted to get your hair done?
Yeah.
She was just going along for the ride.
Right. It was her.
Where were you going to go to get your hair done?
He was coming to our house. He was just a friend of hers.
Okay, and he wants to be a hairdresser?
No, not
You
at all.
just want to be...
I don't want nothing to do with hair. They asked me as a favor. I do my hair every once in a while, pull it through a cap, and they asked me to come over to do it out of a favor.
What were you going to do for this young lady?
Fix Katie's mess up of her hair dye.
Color or cut?
Color.
Color. So he was going to color you. Now, why would you let him color your hair?
He was a friend of hers.
Friend of whose?
My sister's. Mine.
Now, did he color your hair?
Yes, he did.
Good. And then he cut your sister's hair.
Right.
Tell me how that happened.
Well, he cut my sister's hair. I mean, he colored my sister's hair. And then he pulled me into the bathroom, and he had...
How did he pull you? You're bigger than he is.
Well, he said, come to the bathroom, and I said, okay, what are we doing? And he's like, well, I'm going to feather your hair. And I said, what does that mean? And he pulled out, like, a comb that he had in his own bag, and he said, I'm going to feather it. And I said, well, I don't know what that means. You're not cutting my hair if that's what you mean. And he said, no, I'm not cutting your hair. And he repeatedly said he was not cutting my hair. And I said, okay, then what do you mean by feather it? And he said, just trust me. So he sat me down in the chair, and, you know, he took like a tiny little bit off the ends. And I said, well, that's cutting my hair. And he said, no, I'm just going to take the dead ends off so, you know, so it'll grow faster. And I was like, Well, I don't know. So he took all my hair into the back, kind of like a ponytail, and he took the comb and he just hit it like really hard right in the middle, and like in a matter of seconds, it was all gone. And so then I started.
Bye-bye. It's all gone.
And so I started crying and I was screaming. I was saying, you know, stop and
stop and then he finished it up. All right. Yeah. Give me your version.
I came over. Katie picked me up, met me at a specific location to go to a supply store to get bleach for her hair and a couple of supplies. I asked Katie, okay, are we going to do your hair? She said, okay, we'll buy an extra kit for mine, just in case I like Shelly's hair, how it turns out. So she bought all the products. We bought a kit for her. I brought this comb, and I says, okay, if you wanted to do your hair, feather it, whatever, this is what I got. This is a feathering, texturizing comb. It is used to texturize and feather hair. It does not use to chop off big amounts of hair.
So would you just tell me how come you cut her hair? Tell me what happened.
She asked me to cut her hair.
And where did she ask you to cut her hair?
At her sister's apartment, in the bathroom.
Where? In the bathroom?
Yes.
How did she get into the bathroom?
We walked into the bathroom.
Both of you walked in. You didn't pick her up. You didn't pick her up and carry her there,
No.
did you?
No.
No.
Willingly.
Huh?
We all willingly went to the bathroom, had, you know, she had Kool-Aid, we were all having a good time. I was playing with her son.
Miss Campbell, get over it. Get over it. You were playing around with your sister. She was letting some unprofessional teenager do stuff on her hair. Whether you let him, whether he was acting like an idiot or not, you have choices. Your choice is, you don't go to the bathroom, you don't sit down, you don't say, I don't understand what feathering is. What's feathering? Is it going to cut my hair? You say, don't touch my hair, it's my crowning glory.
I did.
Then you leave.
I tried and he pushed me back down. And he hit my arm down too when I was trying to stop him. He said, shut the F up and get over it. You know, it's done and done. And
But it was already done.
Yeah,
already
when he was doing it, and then he's like, I need to fix it, and, you know, this is my career. I've been growing it out, and, you know.
So, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
I don't know.
You won't put yourself in this situation. The three teenagers put themselves in this situation. He certainly doesn't have any money to pay you. Why should his mother have to deal with that? I want to tell you something. If you're not a professional hairdresser, if you're not licensed, you're not supposed to be working on anybody. Your only redeeming trait right now is that you are 17 and you are not of age where you could really lose the ability to practice this kind of career permanently. You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is this what you want to do as a profession?
I was doing it for favor. I don't want nothing to do with hair. Nothing.
So that I don't understand why you would even take somebody else's head.
They didn't have the money to get it done. She says, oh, I saw, you know, your friends.
Mr. Mason, listen to me very carefully. If you don't know anything about hair, if you don't profess to know anything about hair, and don't indicate that you know anything about hair, why wouldn't Shelley have her sister do the same thing on her hair that you did if you know nothing about hair? If you don't profess to know anything about hair. Do you understand?
I understand.
It doesn't make any sense unless you suggest that one of them likes you, one of them has a crush on you.
Katie asked me to homecoming.
Did she?
Yes.
When?
In the beginning of the fall, and I wasn't able to make it.
Is that right?
Your Honor, he's gay, and he said that he,
I'm
he
gay?
said he would go as a friend. Yes, he said he would go as a friend because she didn't have a date, and she didn't want to miss the only dance because she's doing internet
So
school.
did you go together?
No, he ditched me for it. He didn't show up.
Even more reason not to invite him over to your home.
Right. Well, he apologized and everything, and he had a message on
things that he has no business taking care of, which means he lets somebody who has absolutely no training do anything to you, because aside from anything else, you could get hurt. And not just your hair, which grows back. You know, whether it takes 6 months or a year, your hair is going to grow back. What other thing? You're using bleach on your head, you're using caustic materials, you're letting some schlemiel over you who has no talent take care of you. Very foolish. Your case is dismissed. That's all. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
19-year-old student Jennifer Williams is suing her ex-boyfriend, 19-year-old student Michael Hume, for attorney's fees, money loaned, and for kicking down her door.
Miss Williams, the defendant is a former boyfriend of yours. I gather you were arrested on some sort of a warrant from when you were a juvenile. Is that right?
Probation violation.
And at that time, according to you, Miss Williams, he's in jail, and you loaned him some money to buy some socks and other toothpaste, I guess, combs, shaving stuff. That wasn't a lot of money. How much was it?
$200.
Did he ask you for that money?
He asked for the money to be put in his account. I said I would do it as long as he paid me back.
Did you say that to him?
Yes, I did.
You remember that?
Not at all. I don't.
Do me a favor, don't laugh.
Sorry.
Did she put any money into your account?
Yes, she did.
How much?
She did 200.
How did she know you needed money in your account?
Well, I made phone calls.
And what did you say?
I said that we have commissary and I would like some money, and she sent me money. Some of that money, I was under the understanding that some of that money came out of one of my paychecks when I was working security before I was incarcerated.
Did you have any paychecks of his that he got after?
No, ma'am. None of the money that was put into his commissary account came out of his paycheck. That all came out of my paychecks.
Where was his paycheck?
At Sandy's house, who was his employer at the time. It was at her house.
So you never got his
No,
paycheck?
ma'am.
Okay. Now let's talk about the lawyer, because that's a much bigger bill. You say that you paid for his lawyer.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much was that?
Well, I had thought it was $1,100. I have the receipts. It says it was $1,200.
But you sued for 11.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That's it.
Okay. Tell me how come you paid for his lawyer?
I went to go see him in jail. It was originally understood he was going to get a court-appointed lawyer. Then he had called me and said he didn't want a court-appointed lawyer, that he had wanted a real lawyer. And then the next day when I had gone to see him in jail, I told him I would pay for the lawyer as long as he paid me back when he got out of jail.
A lot of that is false.
Just tell me the story, sir.
Okay.
And try standing up straight and looking at me.
Sorry.
Good. Now looking at
Basically,
me. I'm not there. I'm here.
okay, sorry. I told both her and her mother that I was fine with a court-appointed lawyer. I didn't agree to pay them back at all. I also, it was never in writing or anything. I'd never said that. It was just never said. I was just under the understanding that she was paying for my lawyer to be nice because she loved me, blah, 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 you know.
There's a lot there to love.
Thanks.
Well, if you didn't want her to pay for your lawyer, and if you were just as happy with the public defender, why didn't you just say to the lawyer when the lawyer came to see you in jail, I have a lawyer, thank you very much, I don't need a lawyer?
Well, I didn't have a court-appointed lawyer yet.
So you had no lawyer and you're sitting in jail?
Not yet. I hadn't.
Just pay attention.
Okay.
You had no lawyer, and you're sitting in jail. How old are you?
19.
Had you been in jail before?
Yes.
For how long?
Around 2 months.
Did you know her then?
No, no, I did not.
When you met him, had you known that he had spent some time in jail?
The first time I met him was when we were both working at Friendly's. I didn't find out he was in jail then until the third week we knew each other. We weren't dating yet.
But then you found out that he had been incarcerated. Did you know what for?
Over the months we had dated, he had explained things. All I knew is that he had a probation violation, possession of marijuana, possession of a controlled substance, eluding the police. The list goes on and on.
You still on probation?
No.
So you're not drug screened anymore, is that
No.
right?
Correct.
How did I know that?
You're really intelligent.
You're really right. What else?
Well, as far as him for telling you that he had never said he would pay me back, my witness was there at the time. She is my mother. She was in the room with us when he said it.
Let me hear you. Miss Williams?
Yes.
Let me hear what you heard. Where were you first?
We were in the lawyer's office. His father had mentioned, I'm not going to pay for your lawyer. And Michael had said, I will pay you back.
So you were all sitting together?
Yes. And the first time we had talked about the lawyer, I had gone with my daughter to see him in jail. And he said, don't worry, Ma, I'll pay you back when I get out of jail and
Ma,
I get a
is
job.
that what he called you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What else?
He put a hole in my door, my bedroom door, when we were fighting one night.
Forget it. Let me tell you something. Was this after he got out of jail?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
After he got out of jail, I wouldn't have let him back in my bedroom at all.
And I was very stupid to do so.
It's fine. Then you pay for the door out of your own stupidity.
All right.
Where are you working now? What is that around your neck?
This? Necklaces.
One or more?
2.
What are they made out of?
Just aluminum and metal.
Where are you working now?
Right now, I'm actually not working. I'm applying, though, at various jobs.
Who are you living with?
I'm living with my friend.
This friend?
No, not this friend.
What kind of friend?
He restores cars.
What else does he do? Does he sell? Is he a business person?
No, not at all.
Does he sell anything
No.
other than restoring cars?
No,
No.
people want him to sell his car, but he won't do it.
I wasn't talking about cars necessarily. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,300. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Yes, case number 300 on the calendar in the matter of Lane versus Sandicott.
Thank you, Bert.
Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
The defendant was a former friend and roommate of both of you?
Yes.
Is that right? And it is your claim first that you sold him a car, that he didn't make all the payments on the car, you repossessed the car, then the police came to your house, arrested you both, and you spent 6 days in jail.
Yes.
And you want the money for the car, because I assume he has the car back?
Yes.
Next cause of action is you claim that he stole certain property.
Yes.
The defendant says that he actually owed you very little on the car because he did some work for you, and he's got a counterclaim for value of a computer, software, lost wages, and a whole bunch of pain and suffering. When did you sell him the car and for how much?
On June 25th of 2001, and we sold him, the original selling price was for $800. He gave us $400 in computer parts and $100 in cash.
So he owed you $300.
Yes, car.
Go ahead.
Then we agreed for to finish paying for the rest of the car in 1 week. A month later, we came to Jeff and we asked him, can he, finish paying for the car? And if he wasn't going to finish paying for the car, we were going to repossess it, and he wasn't going to get reimbursed for the amount he already paid. Another month and a half after that came and went, and we came to Jeff again, and we told him, you broke the agreement that we had, and now we want to repossess it. Jeff then stated that the car was broken, that it wasn't even drivable. We said, fine, we're going to go fix the car and take it home. And that's when we went to go, and the car wasn't even broken, Your Honor. It had nothing wrong with it. We drove the car home, and the next morning, the police came because Jeff called the police and told them that we stole his car.
Was the car titled in your name at that point, sir?
No.
It was not?
No.
In whose name was the car titled?
I believe it was in the people they had bought it from. It had never been turned over into their name either because we were going to turn it straight into my name.
So you didn't have the title to the car?
Right.
And you didn't have the title to the car in your name?
I do have a bill of sale and the title that is listed for my wife's name on the title, Your Honor.
Let me see it. So you only had this car a couple of weeks before you sold it to him?
Yes, ma'am.
And you bought the car for $400?
Yes, ma'am.
You sold it to him for $800?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a pretty good profit.
Yes.
From your friend, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
But when the police came to the house, Your Honor, they refused to look at any of the legal documents stating that the car was ours, and they threw us in jail. Me and my wife both spent 6 days in jail.
Why did you spend 6 days in jail?
Because Jeff had this thing against us.
What thing did he have against you?
About possession of stolen property for the car.
I understand that, but didn't a lawyer come to see you while you were in jail?
No, Your Honor.
What state do you live in?
Washington.
Washington? Washington State?
Yes, ma'am.
Mark that off my list of places to visit.
You got it.
Yes.
Was this the first time you were arrested?
For this matter? No. No, ma'am. What happens is when you get arrested, right, you go in for arraignment the next day, and then you plead not guilty. And then they give you another court date a week after that, and then you go in and you plead not guilty again.
Yeah, but even on your... No. I mean, most civilized jurisdictions, before you go and appear before a judge, you're given a lawyer, and you say to the lawyer, look, I have the bill of sale, please show that to a judge. That would happen on the very next day, unless they were detaining you on some other matter. Now, were you being detained on some other matter? Don't look at me like I'm speaking a foreign language, all right? You were being detained on another matter.
Yes, Your Honor.
That was me. Perfect. Because what you have just described to me might happen in Afghanistan, but doesn't happen in the United States of America. Were you being held on a warrant?
Yes.
Perfect.
Does this mean Washington's back on your list?
Washington's back on my list. Thank you, Brett. All right. right, so let's get rid of any pain and suffering that you had as a result of the 6-day incarceration. It wasn't 6 days incarceration on this. They just happened to find you because of this. Okay. You have the car. You owe him $300 for the car.
I actually owe him $260.
So why didn't you pay him?
I just honestly didn't have the money, but
So why didn't you give him back the car? And they would have given you back the software, given you back your $100.
up until this point we were friends, and they had another vehicle. So there was no real reason to. I was paying him in small payments. Actually, before they came and stole the car, I gave him $40 like 2 weeks before this happened.
Is that right?
That was on past bills, Your Honor. Bills because he didn't, on the last month that he lived with us, he didn't finish paying for his electric bill or his phone bill. And so we took this money for that.
No, that's not what I'm asking you, whether you took the money for that. Did he say, when he handed you the $40, did he say to you, this is for car payment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, then you don't say, well, I'm not accepting this as a car payment. I'm going to put it towards your last month's bills. If he made the payment for the car, then he only owes you $260 for the car. So you agree you owe him $260 for the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now tell me about what you claim he stole. You say he stole property.
Yes, Your Honor. On when we was released from jail, we had got evicted from our apartment, and my mother, Pauline Hall, she had packed my things. And when I was released from jail, I went through my stuff and I noticed items missing. One being $200 worth of movie tickets, one being a basketball, and computer paper.
So?
And when I went and asked my mother, I said, did you remember packing this stuff? And she told me, yes, she did remember packing this stuff, plus she remembered seeing Jeff going through the things
Are you
after.
the mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Step up, please. What is your last name?
Hall, H-A-L-O.
You saw him take property?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you see him take? And when?
Okay, I asked him to move from my home because at this time he was living in my home.
You mean the defendant?
Yes, Jeff.
Yes.
And so I went to Jerry and Olga's apartment, and I was packing their things and bringing them into my garage as Jeff was moving his things out of my home. He was taking tables and chairs and basketballs and going through boxes. He had taken some food, that all of these things he said was his. Well, my daughter Janet told me not to let him do these things. And I said, I'm very tired. I just want to get these kids moved out of their apartment, and Jerry can deal with him on this matter later. About a week after this happened, Jeff and I had a phone conversation because Jeff had taken some things from my home that I wanted back. And he told me that he put $300 for the money that he had owed on the car in Jerry and Olga's checkings account. And I said, Jeff, that's a lie because they don't even have a checkings account. We closed that out.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jerry and Olga Lane say former friend Jeff Sandercock owes for the cost of a car and stolen property. Jeff says the Lanes crossed the line when they tried to repossess the car.
Did you take a basketball that belongs to him?
I honestly don't know. I moved a lot of stuff in that 2 days.
Do you have a basketball that doesn't belong to you at home?
I don't think so, no.
How much was the basketball?
It was probably about worth $20, Your Honor.
You more than made that up on the car. Sit down. So far, you owe him $260. Now, you want to tell me about your counterclaim? Take a deep breath. I'm ready.
Well, first of all, I had given him $500 worth of computer stuff. And it was a computer and a fax machine, printer, scanner.
Whatever, it was towards the car.
It was just...
That was towards the car.
A ton of
I
stuff.
gave you credit for that, so we don't do double dipping here.
Right. But the reason why they took the car was because they had come over to the house when I was living with Pauline, and they had made mention of fleeing to Canada because his wife is an illegal immigrant. And they were thinking she was going to be deported for the electronic fraud that she had gone to jail for. So that's when they came and stole the car. And
I asked you a question. I'm on your counterclaim. Do you understand? You still owe $260 on the car. You agreed to pay $800. You didn't pay $800. You owe $260. You have a counterclaim. You say they took property. They owe you for computers, software, lost wages, and a whole bunch of pain and suffering. I'm waiting.
the software he had dropped about a week before this had happened. It was just a CD that I lent him, and he dropped it on the ground, and it scratched, and he said he was going to pay me for it. It was $80.
Next.
The day he stole the car, I was supposed to be at two clients' place, because I work for myself, and I couldn't get there, so I had to call and I had to cancel. So
Oh, all right.
That's-
Cry me a tear. Go ahead. What's next?
that was it. That was
And that's your pain.
right.
And you're suffering.
I had to call, and I had to, my name is on it. That's what they pay me for, is being dependable, and I couldn't be there.
Should have been there.
I couldn't. I didn't have a car. It
Call
was
a
being
cab.
stolen.
Call a cab. Call a taxi. Taxi. Or walk. You don't get paid for that. He owes you $260 for the car. Period.
Your Honor, about the matter about him losing wages, he was not in possession of the
Just
car.
1 second. Listen to me carefully. I just dismissed it. I would like to dismiss him. He has no cause of action. He has no claim. Anything else you want to tell me?
Yes.
What?
First of all, I'm a legal resident. I'm not illegal resident of the United States. Then when he moved in with us, to live with us, I paid a deposit. He didn't pay his part. When he paid last money for the car, I said, this is for last bills. It's not for the car. This is for last bills.
Listen to me. You had the car for 2 weeks. You didn't even transfer the title to the car in your name. And you made a $100 profit. That is a 20% profit. Is that right? 20% profit on what you, 25% profit on what you paid in 2 weeks. People could get that in the stock market these days. They would be very happy. Stop complaining. Goodbye.
He's excused. You may step out.
The computer was worth way more than $500, for all the hardware and stuff.
Numerous times we came to Jeff and said, hey, for us to resume our our friendship, he needs to continue to pay for the car.
Yes, case number 280 on the calendar in the matter of Pennington versus Strange. Thank you. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
You two ladies, according to this complaint that I've read, were very good friends, and you were getting married. You asked the plaintiff to be your matron of honor at the wedding. She agreed. She purchased a dress, which she paid for. There was some sort of a disagreement. You were uninvited to the wedding and uninvited to be part of the bridal party. You want to be reimbursed for the dress, as well as, according to you, a lot of mental anguish, which we'll get to in a minute. The defendant has a cross-complaint for some sort of an assault and undermining some guests' appearance at the wedding. She said that you convinced some people not to come to the wedding, and she's got a lot of mental anguish, too. She's also countersuing for an assault. Okay, very sad. How long had you been friends?
8 years.
When was the wedding planned?
September 14th of this year.
Okay, so now tell me what happened.
Okay, on September 8th, it was on a Saturday, Lori and I and a few of our friends decided to go out. It was a week before her wedding. Lori didn't want anything big because at the time her father was sick, so she didn't know if she had to cancel or not. So if she did, she didn't want anything big.
You mean like a bachelorette party?
Yes. So we had decided to go to a pizza place, San Fratello's. At San Fratello's, we waited for about an hour. We were downstairs talking. Then they came up and they got us to sit at our table. And while we were sitting there, they were just talking about things they had did the night before. Now the night
Who was talking about?
it was Lori and the girls who were sitting at the table, the people standing up in the wedding. Now I was
other members of the wedding party.
Yes, her family. Okay, I have a letter from Lori.
Tell me letter. So what happened? So they were talking about something that they had done the evening before.
Right. They were altering dresses. They were doing party favors, and they were making seating arrangements. All of that I was excluded from.
Okay.
Didn't understand. So they're talking about how they had a good night that Friday night, blah, 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 this. And I asked Lori, when did you plan on telling me about this, Lori? And I can't remember quoted words, but it was basically, it was no big deal, blah, 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 this, and she went downstairs in the bathroom. I therefore followed her. We were both upset. Lori and I were talking. She said it was nothing to hurt my feelings. She wanted to have a family get-together. And I told her, that it hurt my feelings. I was hurt. She started telling me there was a bunch of her family members that did not like me. Okay, and...
So, something happened in the bathroom, according to her.
Yes, we got in an argument. It wasn't an argument. It was just basically our sides of the story.
But according to you, nothing physical took place there?
No, nothing at all. She was in the bathroom stall.
Okay, so nothing physical took place, according to you. Did you spend the rest of the evening together?
Yes, we did.
When did she uninvite you to the wedding?
I came home on a Wednesday, September 12th, and after work I went in my mailbox and there was a letter in there from Lori, and I read the letter, and she uninvited me.
Okay. How much did you spend on the wedding?
$115 for the dress.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it.
Well, then tell me why you're suing her for
I am
$115
suing
for the
her-
dress, $885.
Okay, I am suing her $115.50 for the dress.
Right.
Okay, I am suing her for my lost wages because I took off of work that day.
Which day?
Friday, the day of the wedding, September 14th.
Yes.
Okay. I am suing for my husband's lost wages because he also took off of work. And I am suing for $500 mental distress because what she did was hurt me, and she didn't just hurt me, she hurt a lot of other people.
You don't get paid for that, Miss Pennington. You don't get paid for hurt feelings. And you don't get paid for your husband's lost wages. If he wanted to go to work, he would have gone to work. And you don't get paid for your lost wages. You change your mind, you want to go to work, you go to work. Your dress cost $115.50. Okay. Now, let's hear your side of the story. Tell me first, because I read your answer. What happened in the bathroom?
When we were in the bathroom, I had walked away from the table, went down to the bathroom, and actually I was doing my business in the bathroom when she swung open the door. So, of course, I had to get up and, put my clothes on and everything, And I tried to get out of the bathroom. She pushed me. And she did it twice because I kept trying to get out of the bathroom. And as I was trying to get out of the bathroom, Tammy was in here trying to tell her to let me go. She's like trying to calm her down. My girlfriend Lisa was in the washroom also, and the waitress and the owner were. She grabbed my arm, and as I kept trying to get out, she would swing me back twice. I finally got out of the bathroom. I mean, and during all that, she even told the restaurant owner to F off. And it was just, I finally got out. Then the police came.
Were you injured?
Huh?
Were you injured?
No.
Okay. So if one is not injured, then you don't get compensated for injuries if you're not injured.
Correct.
You had an argument with your girlfriend. She pushed you. So what is your countersuit about?
My countersuit is about people that did not show up for the wedding.
Well, tell me about that.
Well, there was 23 people that I had invited to my wedding that I have been friends with because of her. When we met, they were all, it was the group of people we hung around with. I invited them and her family that I was very close to. None of them showed. Not one. And, I lost all that money from the wedding, of course. It was a tough decision for me to make this. I mean, if you're good friends, you don't push somebody, you don't grab them.
You also don't tell them that they're not invited to a wedding.
Miss Pennington.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Speak not. Go ahead.
And I feel that, because of that, it was not my fault. She did not have to be that vulgar. She did not have to do that in the bathroom. She could have called me.
There's no question. You had an argument in the bathroom. What makes you think that everything is worth a lawsuit?
It's not.
It's not. You're absolutely right. So the argument is not worth a counterclaim. And if I understand your part about the guests, what you're saying is she convinced certain guests not to attend the wedding because she wasn't going?
Well, they probably didn't go because she wasn't going to be in it, so they figure, why
I had
go?
no control over that.
Just a second.
I mean...
First of all, she's anticipating what I'm saying, and it's irritating to me. Don't anticipate what I'm going to say.
Cases, real people. Judge Judy. Amber Pennington says after an argument with former friend Laurie Strange, she was uninvited to Laurie's wedding. Amber is suing for the cost of her bridesmaid's dress.
Miss Strange, she's absolutely right. She has no control over these people. If she said to them, I would prefer that you not attend the wedding because she hurt my feelings, they had the option of saying, I'm crazy about Laurie, and I'm going to the wedding anyway. So she has no control over whether they go or not. So you have no counterclaim. Why don't you think that you're responsible for her dress?
Why don't I?
Yeah.
For one, she left it at my house. She came to try it on there. Didn't even take it. She said she didn't want it altered. And then she called me when she got the letter saying she wanted her dress back. Well, come and get it. I mean, I'm not going to deliver it to you,
Your Honor,
after everything that happened.
You don't understand.
Okay.
You were supposed to be matron of honor?
Yes, ma'am.
It has been my experience, my vast experience, that bridesmaids' dresses, and these dresses were made or ordered specifically for the bridesmaids and matron of honor, they're usually the ugliest suckers around. I don't know a living soul who has ever put on one of those dresses again. They buy them, they never look right, they always, look like prom dresses spruced up. So she has absolutely no use for this dress. So what I'm asking you is, whether she had it altered or not, she was intending to be part of your wedding. At the last minute, once the dress was purchased, you told her that you didn't want her to be in the wedding. You had an argument. I mean, it's the kind of argument that probably should have been resolved. She had hurt feelings because she felt she was excluded from a party that you had before. It may not have been a party, it may just have been a family get-together, but she was very honest with you about her feelings. You may have been a little overly sensitive, and a little immature. If some of her family got together the night before and you weren't invited, so what? Why would you want to do anything to spoil her wedding if she was your good friend?
It had nothing to do with spoiling her wedding. It had to be
No.
included in her wedding.
It had to do with spoiling her
No,
wedding.
It did not.
Miss Pennington, I'm going to try one more time. What you're supposed to say if she's your good friend is, it's not about me. You have to repeat that mantra. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's not about me. This is her day. It's all about her. And if my feelings were hurt, if I were a mature adult, I would have waited until perhaps a week or so after the wedding, maybe when they got back from their honeymoon, if they went on one and said, I just want to tell you, my feelings were really hurt that I wasn't invited the night before when you had some people over, because I thought we were really good friends. That's what a mature adult does. A spoiled, self-centered person, however, 2 days before or 3 days before a wedding, to create a scene and a fuss to diminish the joy of the wedding is just that, a selfish, self-centered person. That's you. Okay. But you happen to be a selfish, self-centered person who was entitled to her $115.50 back because she did, in fact, say, you're not welcome at the wedding. You had a loss. You're entitled to that loss. Not all the other things that you're suing for. Your lost wages, your husband's lost wages, your pain and suffering, your break. And Miss Strange, you are not assaulted in the bathroom. You had a fight with your girlfriend in the bathroom. That does not rise to the level of an assault. And the fact that some guests decided not to show up because she had been uninvited also does not create a cause of action. So your counterclaim is dismissed. The judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $115.50. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Never in my mind would I think something like this would happen.
It wasn't upsetting, it was very hurtful.
I can finally say this is over, it's done with.
I lost a very good friend.
I can go on with my life now.
Yeah, this is case number 284 on the calendar in the matter of Patton versus Shumway Nair. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Young man, have a seat, please.
Mr. Patton, according to your complaint, the defendant and her 16-year-old son owe you for money as a result of the son's burglarizing of your home on several occasions. Their defense is that they do not deny, the young man does not deny that he entered your home illegally, but that on the date that you say the majority of the damage was done, somebody else did it. Right?
I believe so.
Tell me the first time you noticed that someone had been in your home.
I hadn't moved in yet, but I had the house furnished and was about to move in. And I came to the house one evening to bring some linens from my son's bedroom, and I noticed a police car in front of the defendant's house. And I walked into my house and noticed that there was some damage done.
Tell me about the damage.
I saw some pizza in the carpet. I saw the pizza container in the trash can. A Nestle Toll House cookie container or package was completely consumed and in the trash.
Had you brought these things into the house?
Not the pizza. The cookies I had put in the refrigerator, right.
Okay.
A bottle of Goldschlager was gone and a half a bottle of vodka. The bed in my bedroom, the linens were all brand new, had all been pulled down and looked like somebody had slept in it. Let me see, 2 towels were missing. My jacuzzi cover was open and the jacuzzi was running. And I hadn't been there in about a week at this time.
So you had not moved into this home yet? You
Correct.
were in the process of furnishing it?
Correct.
Go ahead.
And I thought, well, I better go outside. There's a police officer outside. I better go out and report this. And before I could get to the police officer, the defendant's younger sister approached me and told me that her brother had shot my windows out with a BB gun. And I hadn't seen that yet. That was on the whole side of the house that faces their house. So then I approached the police officer, and he was there to take the BB gun from the defendant at that time. That's why he was there. And on another case, I guess, I don't know. And he came over to my house, and I talked to him, and they just, talked about arresting him or pressing charges. And the defendant's mother said, if they make restitution, we won't press charges or arrest the defendant. So
the defendant's mother came to you and said that she would make
the same evening, right? The same evening.
Tell me the best that you can recall the extent of the conversation.
Well, the defendant's stepmother or stepfather wanted the son arrested. I guess there's been previous problems, but the mother didn't. She assured me that I'd get the money back for the broken windows and any other damages.
What did he say? Anything?
I've never talked to him. Never have one time.
He was not there?
No, he wasn't.
Did you get an estimate for the windows?
The estimate was $605.
6:05. What other damage was there?
About a week after I moved into the house had appeared to have been broken into again. And this time, I noticed I came in the house and the computer was on. We'd been out of town, and we came back and the computer was on. I went upstairs to my bedroom, and in my headboard of my bedroom, I keep a pistol locked, and that was broken open. And the bullets were missing, but the gun was still there. The spa cover had been torn with a knife. I checked my telephone, and I hit redial on my phone, and the phone number came up to the defendant's house. At that time, I called the police again, and they came out, and it was the same story. They tried to tell me they weren't in the house this time.
Who's they?
The defendant's mother and the stepfather.
Did you ever get the money for the windows?
Well, they had finally told me that they had the money for it and to go ahead and have it fixed. When we came time to collect, that same day, the stepfather and the mother I guess they separated, and there was no money.
Let's have it.
Some of the accusations that Mr. Patton has are true. I admit to that. I made a bad mistake.
How many times did you enter his house illegally?
3.
Give me the dates.
I don't know the dates. I wasn't.
Well, what did you do the first time you went to his house?
The first time, my sister was playing in the backyard, and she threw a ball accidentally into the backyard. She couldn't get it, so I went over there. And the first time, I was just looking in the windows. Second time, I went over, the door, sliding glass door was cracked open. I went in.
And what did you do in the house?
The cookie dough container that was opened, I had that. I ate that.
What about the pizza?
I have, pizza was not me.
Who was it?
I don't know.
Did you ever have anyone else with you in the house?
No, I did not.
Never?
Never.
But you slept in his bed?
No, I did not.
Did you sit in his bed?
No.
What else did you do?
That day, that was it. I just left.
You went into the house a third time?
Yes.
What did you do the third time?
Third time, the towels that he mentioned were missing. I was using those, and I went in his jacuzzi.
And it was just you. What time of the day or evening was this?
It was between 3:30 and 5.
Did you drink any of his alcohol?
No.
Hmm. Did you ever make a phone call from his home?
No.
How old is your sister?
The one mentioned is 7 now.
You have another sister?
Yes, she's 12.
Did she ever go in with you into the house?
No.
So you did this all on your own?
Yes.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Have you ever been arrested before?
Yes.
For what?
Stealing.
Stealing what?
I can't exactly remember. I was around 12.
Stealing from where?
Walmart.
Now, why don't you tell me about shooting out his windows?
That was out of boredom. It's a mistake I made, and I'm sorry.
When the police were called to your house on the day that Mr. Patton says the police were there, they were there, he indicates, to remove the BB gun.
Yes.
So there must have been a complaint from someone about you with the BB gun.
Before Mr. Patton was there, I had already been caught, and...
Caught doing what?
I was, my stepdad found me in the jacuzzi, and I admitted that I did break the windows with the BB gun.
So it was your stepfather who called the police?
I don't know who it was.
Who called the police?
I did.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Eddie Patton says next-door neighbor 16-year-old Christopher Shumway broke into his house and vandalized it. Christopher admits to using the jacuzzi and eating cookie dough, but says that's it.
Mr. Patton says he has not been reimbursed for any of the damage. Why not?
Well, he made that agreement between himself and my estranged husband. And when my husband left, he had already told me that he had given the money to Mr. Patton, which apparently was not so. And so when my husband left, so went the money.
Okay, well, it's not your husband's responsibility. This is not his child. This is your responsibility. Other than the $605 for the windows, Mr. Patton, what other damage did your property suffer?
The cleaning of the carpet for the pizza, and then the spa cover, which is going to have to be replaced. I haven't done yet.
How much was that?
$418.
$418.
And 88 cents.
And I beg to differ with these figures.
Why is that?
Because when we had the conversation in his kitchen, he said that the spa cover was no big deal. He knew somebody that could repair that. And the quote on the windows was $325.
You have something on the windows for me, sir?
I have a receipt for that, Your Honor.
Can I see it, please?
Construction company. My brother-in-law works for that company, and he did the labor for free for me. So there's no labor charge on that.
He's never presented us with a receipt.
Well, you can take a look at it. He doesn't have to repair a spa cover. He was moving into a brand new house with brand new sheets, everything nice and neat. The invasion of someone's home by somebody, by a burglar, eating, messing up the place. There isn't a question in my mind that your son did all of that. Not a question. He knows it, and I know it. He may have been with somebody else. If he chooses to keep that a secret, that's totally up to him. But it is far too coincidental to think that someone else would come and do pretty much the same thing as your son did. Take a jacuzzi, not steal anything else from the house, and just come in and generally vandalize it. That's his MO. So you're suing for $1,113.79, and I'm awarding you that judgment. Listen, you're 16 years old. You've already had 2 experiences with the law. This one you got away with because, according to you, you committed no less than 2 acts of burglary. Whether you go into a house and eat cookie dough or steal a diamond necklace, the value of what you steal has absolutely nothing to do with the charge. The charge is still burglary, because the definition of burglary is breaking and entering into the dwelling of another with intent to commit a crime therein. And you did commit a crime by taking property that didn't belong to you. And I don't care. It makes no difference to me or the law whether it was cookie dough. So you got away cheap. Now, I don't know what happened to you as a result of your first theft. Probably nothing. Did you go to court on that case when you were 12 years old?
No, I was given counseling and community service.
Probably a big mistake. Maybe if they had sent you to juvenile hall for a couple of days, we might not have been here today. In any event, the judgment is for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,113 as requested. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It was kind of exciting to move into a place that was brand new, everything new inside, and that kind of changed the outcome of that.
I won't do that again.
Justice is served.
For car repairs, after his sign hit Tina's vehicle.
Court come to order. All rise.
Be seated, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 1145, Fellows versus Mock.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
Mock, what kind of business do you have, sir?
I do power washing and leaf blowing bag as well as snow blowing.
Do you have a regular car or a van?
I have a truck.
And you have signs on your truck?
Yes.
And on April 9th, 2021, you had signs on your truck that were magnetic?
At that time, I may have, but since then I have went to stickers. So
Okay, but you did have magnetic signs on your truck.
At some point.
And you had those signs on both sides of your truck?
Correct.
How large are they?
Say about 18 by 12 inches.
And those of your business?
Correct.
And they say the telephone number, how to contact you?
Correct.
So you're advertising?
Correct.
Do you remember the date in April happened?
According to
them.
I don't.
You don't?
No.
But do you remember at some point on or about April 9th, you checked and you were missing signs?
At some point in April, yes.
And that's because, according to Mr. and Mrs. Fellows, they're driving along, and one of those magnetic signs from your car went your car and hit the mirror of their car, damaged their mirror. They want you to pay for the mirror. That's what this whole Geschichte is about, right? And they don't look like crazy people, and you don't look like a crazy person. So at some point, what they did, according to their complaint, Mr. Mock, is they drove away, and they drove up next to your car, and they wrote down the number from the magnet that hadn't flown off. So far, correct?
Actually, we took a picture.
Took a picture.
No,
See it,
on
please?
The other side, too. Yes.
Yeah, great. Photograph makes it so much easier. I got it. This is your signs? Great.
And you can see him in the picture as well.
Yes. Got it.
Okay.
Okay? And so that's how they got.
Okay.
And then they called you.
Not immediately, no. But at some point they did make contact with me.
Okay. And after you say that you were something flying off and hitting the mirror, which could have been much more dangerous, these things that clearly then dangerous. Everybody should be on alert. They can fly. Be aware. Accident looking to happen. You examined your car.
And what did you find?
We found that there was a piece on the mirror that was broke as well.
I'd like to see it.
And I would like to say the reason we didn't call right away, when I have a chance, Judge.
Sure.
See the magnet that's stuck in the mirror there?
Oh, gee whiz.
Your Honor, may I see those
Absolutely.
as well?
Absolutely.
Mailed these to the defendant, Your Honor.
Did you ever see them?
And we exchanged emails as far as that goes. I actually seen the picture of me, other ones, and as I was attempting to receive counsel myself, as far as those goes, I asked them to
sign in their mirror.
And we actually have the
That's
sign.
a piece.
We have the piece of the sign as well.
Oh.
So I asked them to send me these
just
pictures.
Just a second. Would you mark while you're there so you don't have to make 2 trips? Got it?
Yep.
Okay. So you see, they come prepared. Great. So these are the photographs of your sign in their window. This is clearly your sign.
It looks.
You can see the little tree match to the picture.
I see it. Of course he sees it. Okay. And how much is it going to cost to fix? Responsible for that? He knows that.
Written estimate we finally received from the dealership where I bought the car was $726.11. I have an estimate. If
Yes.
I also do have a reason that we had an initial different price, so it was kind of a long saga.
And what year car is it?
It's a 20 Crosstrek, my very first brand new car I ever bought.
Right, our mirror assembly, glass, and trim.
Which it has the blind spot sensor in the mirror.
Yeah.
That's why it's so expensive.
Have a perfect mirror. You don't have to have it fixed and polished up. It's a brand new car. Okay, now you're going to tell me why you waited and why you gave him a lower estimate.
So if we didn't know, we're driving, 65 miles an hour.
We're past that already.
So didn't know
we
car was
have
damaged.
confirmed liability. Understand that. We have confirmed liability. This came off of your car. You're liable. Period.
Based on, I can't confirm or deny that.
Just a second.
That I was there.
You don't have to confirm or deny.
Or what date they
That's
gave.
what I'm here for. That's what they pay me all this money for.
Right.
There are 2 parts of a civil case: whether you're responsible for something, and if you are responsible for it, what the damages are. That's the 2 parts of a civil case. Already, in my judgment, met their burden to show that on the 9th of April, this piece from your car on the other side flew off and damaged their car. So liability is finished.
April 9th, can you ask them to confirm at what time? Because I'm a school teacher as well, so I own my own
Listen
business.
to me. You're in the car, sir. You're in the...
So my magnet did fall off the car, but that doesn't necessarily state that my magnet came in contact with their car, and that's just not, I don't...
Mr. Mack, I don't care what school teacher, I'm worried for the kids. I've explained it to you very carefully, Mr. Mack. I've explained it to you. This plus this establishes your liability. Period. The only question is damages. Now, in this case, the car, if the mirror was at all damaged, they're entitled to have a new mirror.
And which I tried to do.
Just a second.
Okay, go ahead.
So what I've said to you is 2 possibility damages. How do I know for sure it was your sign that came off your car that they retrieved from their mirror that looks like a sign on April 9th? How do I know that? I know that because it's common sense. And the law is not supposed to be an ass. Teach that to your children.
Thank you.
Okay? So the question is one of damages. Okay. Now, you were going to tell me, Ms. Fellows, without any drama and without any hearsay, it took you time to call him.
Okay.
And why you initially gave him a lower estimate.
Okay. We were on our way to our church meeting, so when we got there, we saw... So the next day, we called Jermaine Subaru, and my husband tried to explain over the phone what the part was. At that time, the person thought that they...
Now you're telling me hearsay.
Okay.
And you can't do that. You can't
but I'm
do
just
that.
trying to explain why the hesitation.
Okay. So he had... You keep trying to talk faster to me, Miss Fellows. But what I'm telling you is, whether you talk faster or not, I'm not paying attention to what you're saying.
Okay. All right.
Now, if what you're telling me is that the first time you took the car into Jermaine Subaru, which is where you purchased the car, and was the first written estimate that you got, I accept that. Don't tell me. My husband spoke to somebody on the phone. They described what the problem was. They gave him, You can't do that.
Okay.
That's hearsay.
Okay.
So the next day you took it into Jermaine Subaru, okay, and you called the defendant. So that was the 11th.
The first time we called him, I left him a very detailed message. And
What
he
date?
did not, he
What
never
date?
called me back.
What date?
April 10th.
Did you?
I did not receive a phone call nor a voicemail from her.
Okay, then I don't have to deal any further with this case, sir. No. Then you have to pay for a new mirror $26.11.
Now, after that, we did have a conversation over the phone.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
after that, let's be clear. She detailed message.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you received that message and decided to blow it off, I don't know. But I guarantee you that the next she initiated.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right?
Correct.
Right. And the next communication, you did answer the phone or you called her back?
I believe so, right? Is
Yes.
That, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
And the two of you spoke.
Right.
Is that when she gave you a lower estimate?
I don't recall giving me details about her taking pictures and.
Did she tell you she took the car into Jermaine?
I can't recall, but.
Then I'm going to go 5 minutes ago. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $726.11.
Ma'am?
Thank you, Your Honor.
The first initial $140.
We're done. We're done, Mr. Mark. We're finished. Do you understand? Do you understand? Two things. Just pay attention. And what you have to teach your students is when something happens that is more your fault than somebody else's fault, what you're supposed to do is take responsibility. I'm not 100% sure that it was the 9th, whether I have the decals, and I'm not exactly sure. And then she calls you, leaves you a detailed message. You don't call her back. Pair estimate from Jermaine. They are a reputable.
May I see that?
Absolutely.
And I've tried to call this guy, and he hasn't returned my phone calls.
I don't know whether that's true or not, and I don't care.
Business owner Andre Mock owes for car repairs after his sign hit Tina's vehicle.
Now, all you have to do, sir, is spurt here, or you have for me something that is the cost price of a new mirror for a 2020 Supermobile. I don't have to have that evidence. You did. And if you want to dispute this, do it. You can't tell me I tried to call him, he didn't call you back. That's ridiculous, Mr. Mock. It's a ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You are taking a ridiculous position. We're finished.
Court is adjourned.
Outside.
But the one we got over the phone, the person didn't understand what part we were talking about.
It went from $20 to $240 to $200.
Then they gave the cost for just the part. The final estimate was for the parts and labor, everything.
It's like a $500 difference between the two estimates. So
To go that far if I didn't have to take him to court and get that evidence.
this is the first time I've ever seen those pictures. So if that would have been the case back then,
It really was his. I mean, sure, you can see him in the car when we took the picture.
I definitely would have took the responsibility and accepted the fact that that my magnet did that damage.
And trying to inflate the cost or anything like that, it was just an honest thing of going back to the dealership and getting that complete estimate.
So that case reminded me of a lesson I mother, which was if it's more your fault than my fault, just take ownership, take responsibility. And that came after I got into an accident. Someone hit my car, and I came home and said to Dad, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. And he said, hold on. Is it more your fault than my fault? Because I was at home watching a movie. Did you say that I have to deal with this or you have to deal with this? And I said, you know what, you're right. And I think this is a good case of that, is even if it's not your fault,
intention.
You still need to take responsibility.
It may not be your intention, but the damage was your fault. You chose to put on these mag cows, but they can be dangerous. And if they damage somebody else's property, like here, there's no question of liability. Yeah. The question was damages. And it's vital to have a brand new mirror.
I agree.
That's it. Your father's right.
Case number 1147, Sanchez versus Sharif. All parties, please step forward.
Sanchez is suing tax preparer Darlene Sharif for the cost of legal document services and the loss of revenue.
What kind of business were you starting?
I was purchasing a chiropractic and acupuncture business.
Were you purchasing it from someone who had an existing practice?
Existing practice was a chiropractor, and I am an acupuncturist, so I had to purchase it from a chiropractor.
And was the chiropractor retired?
I was leaving the state.
So in effect, you were taking over his lease?
No, because since I'm an acupuncturist and they're a chiro, I did not purchase the business, the goodwill, so I started a brand new lease.
What was the name of the business?
Her business was called Inner Movement Wellness, a chiropractic corporation.
You pay her for the name Inner Movement Wellness.
I paid $220,000.
And you signed a new lease with the landlord.
Correct. I have.
Just a second.
But now instead of Inner Movement Wellness, a chiropractic, it's Inner Movement Wellness and Acupuncture, a professional corporation.
Were you represented by this $220,000?
Yes.
Negotiation?
Yes.
And the name of that attorney was what?
Lee.
How much did you pay?
Together paid him $6,000.
When?
June 7th.
Of this year?
Correct.
And you signed the lease when?
June 1st.
You retained the defendant to file papers for you so that you could start to do business as Inner Movement Wellness. Change it to an acupuncture. Is it a corporation or an LLC?
The acupuncture board says it has to say a professional corporation.
Okay. And when she's not a lawyer, she just prepares papers.
Well, she had done my son's nonprofit.
You know, she was not a lawyer.
Correct.
Mr. Lee was your lawyer. Correct. She was supposed to file to get papers for you so that you could start your business.
So I can open up a bank account and start my business, yes.
On what date did you make initial with regard?
On or about May 3rd or 4th, but I went into her office on May 7th.
Okay, this is what your case is about. We're going to go step office on May 7th. You signed the lease on June 1st.
Correct.
You say the paperwork, because of her negligence, was delayed several months so that you paid rye. Did you ever get the paperwork from the state?
Yes, I did.
On what date?
June 30th. I received a workable S-Corp, but to this date.
Just a second. So her work got you the paperwork that you needed to work by June 30th.
But she had promised
she promised to expedite it, madam. It's COVID. Nobody is working. You can't even get a license plate. So what you're suing for is the return of what you right, despite the fact that you got your paperwork, and for your potential lost income for a month.
Actually, I'm only asking for just 3 days, whole month of June.
She's not paying you for that.
Okay.
Just understand this. She's not paying you for your potential loss.
Well, I paid 3 times the normal going rate. My accountant was going to do it for $800.
Listen, you can't tell me what your accountant was going to do it for.
Well, no, it's the going rate.
Just tell me what the going rate is. You don't have experts here.
I Googled
it. I don't care what you Googled. What I'm telling you is, if you can establish some sort of negligence, and it has to be a serious negligence, most you can get is some sort of a refund from her.
Well, I tried to ask for one.
Don't speak. Just listen. She got you what you asked for. She got you the ability to work in a business in a relatively short. Now, the only thing that I want you to show me is you filled out paperwork on May 7th. I would like to see the paperwork that you filled out because you say that because of her negligence, that paperwork came back once.
It came back 3 times.
Or it came back 3 times. So let me see what you filled out. No, don't give me 3 letters. I want to see what you filled out with her. May I see that, please? So you went to her office, told her that the name of your business was Inner Movement Wellness, a professional corporation. That's what.
Okay, I told her I needed to help me because it was very.
No.
Claims tax preparer Darlene Sharif owes for the cost of losses after making several mistakes.
Now, you have to understand, this is what it's all about. You tell her what the name of your business is.
She's an expert and is supposed to be able to help somebody who doesn't know anything about this. She's also supposed to guide me, and she didn't guide me correctly.
So, Ms. told her that the name of your business, because you bought for $220,000, Inner Movement Wellness.
And I also...
Just a second. Actually, what I find fascinating is you bought the goodwill of a chiropractor who had been in, and you bought that goodwill, and the chiropractor did not have an acupuncturist there.
There is an acupuncturist there.
Did that acupuncturist come with you?
Continues to work there, yes.
With you?
Yes.
How many people work there?
I have 11 employees.
How many did you bring with you?
None. Yes.
Now I got it. So Ms. Sharif, did you get anything back from the state with regard to this application?
For the fictitious,
Yes.
no, it goes directly to my client.
It went directly to Ms. Sanchez?
Yes, it did. And
Well, can I see it? Does somebody have it? Did they not accept it? Name of the company?
To answer your question to the best of my ability, on June 30th, I did get the S Corp, and I do have this going through a third-party LegalZoom, which I could have done myself.
Listen, you have to understand something. I don't care.
Okay.
If what she went through was LegalZoom, any other app that gives lay people an opportunity to fill out paperwork, and if she decides to be an intermediary between you or you and somebody else, that's her business. And if after it's all over you say, well, I could have filled out the same paperwork, so I want my money back, that doesn't happen.
No,
It doesn't happen.
that's not why
I don't know what you want. You filled out these papers, and you have to show me where she did something wrong. Seems to me somebody who's paying $1,000 for a practice keeps the same lawyer. If they want a lawyer, if you want to do it on the cheap, you do it on the cheap. How much did she charge?
She charged well above and
No,
beyond.
don't chatter.
$2,600.
Okay, so she charged you almost half of that to paperwork to operate as a business. That sounds penny wise and pound foolish to me. And the reason I'm short with you is you got what you paid for. And if my feeling is correct, it may not be, you're annoyed because you could have done the same thing through LegalZoom.
That's not why.
Now I'm going to see.
That's not why. I missed expedited service, and it took months.
No, it didn't take months. Because once you fill it out and file it, somebody's got to let me see the first letter. No, don't give me 3 pieces of paper. Give me the first letter that you got from them, which is what she said you got. And initially you... Okay, so you have to understand, this came to you on June 1st, which means it took somebody in the county, because this was sent in right away.
Right.
It took them almost a month to read it and respond to you. That's just a second. It's not her fault.
No, I
No,
agree.
no. Great.
But had she done it right, had that been right, I could have started then right there.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. If my parents had, I may have been taller than 5 feet tall. That's a possibility.
And she
my
also
brother is 5'9". I could have been 5'9", and he could have been 5 foot tall. That's a shoulda, woulda, coulda.
But expedited service when somebody's like struggling to purchase a business and keep things going.
Ms. Sanchez, you have absolutely no case. Business on June 30th, according to you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, the thing that you don't have is a DBA, which you have not received yet. So far, you have something pending with the Department of State, I assume, and that's doing business as.
Yes.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this. If you hire somebody able to, during this time when people are not in state offices, if you hire somebody else to get your DBA and pay them, you back to me and say, she was supposed to get me the DBA, and she didn't. For whatever reason, I had to hire somebody else and talk to you.
Okay.
Right now, she has paid to get you up and running in your business. You have 11 employees who have been working almost 4 months. As a result of this work that she did, she got you what you needed
But
to
not
conduct your
timely.
business.
But it wasn't timely.
Court is adjourned.
It's just unfortunate during these COVID times when mom and pops are trying to do their best.
She really worked hard on her case.
That we still have people that want to take advantage and charge high prices.
But she just was very persistent.
And overcharge and underdeliver.
I'm sorry that she's unhappy.
And waste people's time.
Judy Justice, she did me well.
You know, I actually came away with 2 things. I think that the plaintiff was unreasonable. The process was completed enabling her less than 60 days. That would be a reasonable period of time, even if it wasn't for COVID. The defendant enabled her, through her work, to hire, employ, and make a living within 7 weeks of their meeting.
Yeah, almost impressive during COVID that it got done.
Almost
that quickly.
impressive. So, and I honestly believe that her issue was that she could have done the same thing and filled out the same forms and did for probably $200, and the defendant charged her either $2,400 or $2,600. So she felt as if she scammed because she could have done it herself. Well, that's on you.
Yeah, that's something you want to look into before you
engage
with
somebody. And she knew she wasn't a lawyer because, according to her, she had done work for the family before.
Joseph Ethier, for impound fees, personal property, and fraudulent debit card charges.
Court guys.
Have a seat, everybody.
Hello, Judge. Good. Case number 1128, Conway versus Ethiel.
I want you to all know I woke up in a very good mood today. And this case is very confusing, so I'm going to try to simplify. I've examined the complaint and I've examined the answer, and it seems to me that there are really just two parts of this case. One, Miss Conway, Ethier owes you for some personal property that he took that belonged to you. Actually, three parts. He owes you money for a car that you allege that he took without your permission, resulted in it becoming impounded, and then you claim he used yours without your permission, and while the bank initially reversed those charges, they subsequently put back those charges. The story that goes behind this is very, very confusing to me, and I am not easily confused. Find out a little something about you, and you, Mr. Ethier. First of all, Ms. Conway, what do you do for a living?
I'm a personal assistant.
Construction superintendent.
And you know each other for a long time?
About 4 years, yeah.
How do you know each other?
We initially met in Modesto, electrical work at a store that I had out in Modesto, and that's how we initially met. And then I knew him for like maybe a year or two then, and then I didn't see him for 2 years and here.
Now, over the course of the 4 years, did you and Mr. Ethier have any sort of social relationship?
No.
Okay. You seem to say that that's otherwise.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, let me hear the otherwise.
Okay, we met, like she said, about 4 or 5 years ago, associating with each other again sometime last year, and she needed somebody to go pick up a motorcycle from her in Reno, Nevada, so we got together and she took me out there back. We started hanging out, me and my other...
No, don't give me the whole story. I'm setting the table for this story, which is a little crazy. What I asked you is simple. The plaintiff says that you didn't have a social. When I say social, I'm talking about an intimate relationship.
No, we didn't. No.
Never relationship.
No.
Okay. I asked you that question, Mr. Ethier, because when I read your answer in this case, you know what you wrote in your answer?
Right. Yeah.
Is that incorrect?
No, that is correct.
You said, I met Miranda 5 years ago. We never really dated, but became friends with benefits. Well, even I understand what that means because I have children and grandchildren who have explained that to me. It doesn't mean that you get coupons.
I apologize. I thought you were referring to before March. We had an intimate relationship before then.
Did you have an intimate relationship after March of this year?
Yes.
You did? Okay. So before March, you were just friends?
Yes.
After March of this year, you had a more social relationship. That be a fair statement?
Yes.
Oh, we've got that settled. This is your sister.
Yes.
It is your claim that at some point you moved into a house that your sister, that she was going to rent to you. Is that correct?
That's correct.
In what month was that?
March.
March of 2021.
Correct.
A lease with her.
I did.
I'd like to see it. So far, I'm still in a good mood.
There you go. I printed it off. Her sent it to me, so I printed. That's why it's like short. That's the lease, though.
I want to see the lease, not something that you copied.
That's the lease. I had to.
I want to see it.
It was left in the house and taken by hand.
Then, just a second. Then if she emailed it to you, she would have it. Do you have it in your emails from March of 2021? That says either a yes or a no.
I emailed it to her in a copy of the original.
Then the answer is no.
Okay.
That becomes important. Do you understand? So this is nonsense. Take it back.
I have it from March of 2021 in my...
Then I would like to see it from March of 2021.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
Say something?
No.
Okay.
Don't say anything. Don't say anything. I'm still working on my good mood. Miss Conway, we're supposed to hear.
I thought that this was going to be...
You thought?
You're right.
No, that doesn't tell me anything. When the issue is who had a lease to live there, then you don't show me a copy that was October 9th.
This one that she sent over was May 15th.
So the answer is you don't have it in March, and she doesn't have it in March.
The original.
Who cares? Then it doesn't exist. If you left it in your house, if you left it in a bird cage, if you left it in your refrigerator, If you don't have it doesn't exist. And you know, when you came here, being an intelligent woman, you don't leave the one critical piece of evidence in your... You bring it to court.
I couldn't because he took it.
You just told me your sister emailed it to you, the original, in March. You would have it in saved emails. Listen, I'm an idiot on the machine, but even I know that I can go back to the search line and I say my sister's her name comes up, what she sent to me in March of 2021. We're not talking about the year of the flood. We're still talking about this year. You don't have it, it doesn't exist. Now, do you have a lease?
We had a verbal agreement, yes.
So the answer is you do not have lease.
No, just a verbal agreement.
In what month did you move into sister's premises?
February.
Were you there before you got there?
Ms. Conway, no. She was there before me.
Okay, so she was there before February.
Yes, but she moved out. She lived before I got there. She had moved to Dunsmuir, had a residence up there. Her sister rented the place to me. I moved in there. She sold her place after I had moved in.
Who sold the place? The sister?
Miranda. She sold her place in Dunsmuir where she was living.
Oh, the plaintiff?
Yes.
Okay, so let me understand what you're...
Conway is suing her former friend, Joseph Ethier, for impound fees, personal property, and fraudulent charges.
Now, before you moved in February,
yes,
she had been living there for a while, but then moved. When you got there in February, was she or was she not physically there?
No, she was not.
Okay. And when you got there, you had an agreement with the sister who owned the property.
Yes.
Stand. Move over there. Last name?
Simpson.
How do you know Miss Simpson?
Through her sister, Miranda.
When did you have a discussion with her about renting the property? How many houses are on the property?
There's a guest house in the back and then a main house in the front.
Did you have an agreement with her with regard to the guest house or the main house? For how much?
$1,200 a month.
Did you pay her any money?
Yes, I did.
When for the first time did you pay her any money?
February.
$100?
Yes.
Show me.
I have text messages here.
Did you pay her in cash or check?
I paid her in cash. But there's a discussion.
Well, this is in May. I want to see February.
Okay, don't have any records of that. There may, if you go to the beginning, there may be in there.
Well, I see that you, Miss Simpson, accepted $1,200 in May. That would be a yes. That
it
would
was
be
her rent money.
No. That would be a yes. You accept?
No.
Oh, really? No. You say, so you did give me $1,200.
It was her rent money.
So you're supposed to pay $1,200. This is you. And I believe that you did pay $1,200, not my somebody else. So you're supposed to pay $1,200, and I believe that you did pay $1,200 because that's what I just... There's nothing there about your sister. Don't say anything that's going to make you look stupid, because I'm a pro at that. Strong suit.
He was...
Yes,
delivering.
you were correct. I gave you $1,200 on the dot. Counted it twice to make absolutely sure. Texts? Yes, but I'm at work now. Sorry to bother you, says he. Can you by chance give me the storage info so I can make the payment? Thank you. Nay, that's you. Shani. That's still you. This is in July. He paid you rent of $1,200. Then, at some point, sister wanted back into the house, and you let her in.
Yes.
And began benefits.
Yes.
Now, just a second. Now I'm getting the picture.
We were friends with benefits.
Shani, I didn't do a thing, so says he, to you or anybody else. She decides to rip me off for no reason whatsoever. She had no right to steal. I have every right to protect myself from entities that are out to do me wrong or harm. You and I had an agreement on renting the house, not... You must understand that she pushed her way in, and I made the mistake of letting her in. But she moved out. I had caught her stealing my rings and other things, which she did return when I asked her to. Her reason was because she thought I was mad at her. Now I don't know why she's doing it. The only thing I can come up with is because of that seat. And I read something about the seat, and that's a motorcycle that she could have fixed, and when you went and had it fixed, it cost $700, and the seat was supposed to be free, so you say, so how do you think I reacted? $700. I asked her to go back and talk to her dad because I wasn't going to pay $700 for something that cost $400 brand new. When I told her she needed to talk to him, now I'm stuck paying $700 with something that isn't worth $700, and I was mad. Felt that she can take more valuable than $700 and hold it for collateral in a deal that made me and your uncle come to terms, which I honored. Is the
Apparently her uncle or father is.
Okay. I have her on camera along with you as well going through the house. Her taking my belongings, trying to get in my bedroom. I have it on video, so I have no reason to lie about that. Nobody has any right to go into my bedroom, my personal thing from me. I ain't tripping. What does that mean?
Yeah, I was letting it go.
But that just ain't right, and my privacy was violated. You, as a landlord, is inhibiting her harassment. It's not what you mean by bringing her there. I have my rights, and I have my right to privacy. But this ends up with this long text message to her. It says that she wasn't there, you took her things, and she makes things right with me.
Right.
Okay. And then you say, you need to call me. I tried to call, what's up? You say, want to put their trailer in my backyard today. I need the gate unlocked and your trucks out of the way and the wood stacked against the cottage. My get in the back, please call me. I have been texting and calling since 7:45 this morning. And he responds at 11:20 where the key was, sorry. Do not be mature and hang up on me, says you. Since you won't listen, I'm going to hang up on you. Your sister started this, not me. I'm not the one that decided to blank me over for no reason. She is. And you said you're not getting in the middle of things, but you really are. And now I'm waiting for it. I'm just not going to let it happen. I didn't do nothing to nobody. The only way I'm going to do what you ask is if your sister gives me... Okay. I could probably read this. It sounds more like a novel.
Conway claims her former friend, Joseph Ethier, found fees, personal property, and fraudulent debit card charges.
Now, Ms. Simpson, I want to tell you what I know, and I don't want you to smart, because I assume that if you have in-laws, right? You say you have in-laws? That's a yes.
Yes.
So I assume you also have a husband.
It's actually my son's in-laws.
So you have children.
I do.
And you don't want to look foolish in front of your children. So I want you to understand this. You rented the house to him. And I know that you did not rent the house in March to your sister.
I did.
Well, I know that you did not because you or your sister have a lease to show me in March.
Well, I have
my bank slip that says I gave it a $3,000.
Just a second. What I'm telling you is that you had an agreement with him.
No, I didn't.
Well, I'm telling you, Miss Simpson, I don't believe it. Well, not the truth. It's a big fib.
No, it's not.
A big fib. Then in May, just a second. He was living there in February. Don't speak. Don't speak. He was living there in February.
No, he was not.
Really? In what month did he come?
He came around March when they were having a relationship.
Just a second. So he came in March.
Yeah.
He came at the same time your sister did.
Yeah, they were together.
Just a second. Couple is
they
what
started to see each other.
No,
I'm not there with them all the time.
Miss Simpson, what I want to know is it your understanding that you to your sister and that the defendant moved in with her or that they moved in at the same time? Do not answer. Impression.
I rented the place to my sister, and then he came around after that. They started in ship.
Just a second. So they were both there in March.
Yes.
Okay. And did you visit them?
On and off.
Okay. And when you visited, where did you go in the house?
I went into my house.
No, just a second. You went into a house that you were renting, according to you, to your sister. And what, the living room, the kitchen, the bedroom,
everywhere.
Where did you go? Everywhere.
The bathroom, the kitchen,
everywhere.
The shower there.
And they were both there.
Did my laundry there, cooked food there.
You did?
Yes.
Well, just a second. Why would you do all of that when you had rented it to your sister?
Because.
No, I don't want you to say a word. Say a word. Where do you and your children live?
My children do not live with me, and there is
Just a second. Who do you live with?
I live on property.
Just a second. You live on the same property. There are two structures on the property. There is a main house. Good mood. I'm getting in a better mood. There is a guest house and a main house. Is not an answer.
Yes.
I assume when you say you went into the house, you were living in the guest house. Don't go like this. We're not talking.
I had access to the main.
Now what? Listen to me. That's not my question. You may have had access. Whoever you rented the house to may have given you access because you all knew. Were you living in the guest house? That's what you just told me. She's going to read it back. You said I was living on the property. There were only two structures on the property.
Yes.
Your guest house, answer the question.
Guest house, yes.
That makes it easier, right?
My name
Well,
is Friday.
don't speak at all, because it's all coming together. It's not what is presented in the complaint and the answer.
The complaint is
Don't speak. This is the way your complaint opens, Miss Conway. In April of 2021, my sister wanted Joseph to build. She had a main house and a cottage. So while he did the work, she let Joseph stay in the cottage free of charge. Around in April, that's what you swore to, I made an agreement with my sister to rent the main house. In June, now, have acknowledged, as well as sister, that when, according to you, he moved in March, they started to have, according to them, an intimate relationship, and they were living together in March in the main house. That's what you just told me, right? She can read, yes. So all this is kind of wrong. You understand that? Okie dokie, good. I woke up and there was a random girl in my house at 2 o'clock. I found out she was a friend of Joseph's, so I told her to leave. Do you know anything about that?
Nothing at all.
Just a second. At 4 a.m., came into my room, but you were having an intimate relationship with him, March, April.
In the room because I was so mad about this girl being there with her 9 loads of laundry and.
Just a second. He put a gun to my head and said, "Don't ever tell me who I can have over." I became uncomfortable living there while Joseph was in the cottage. Bunch of baloney. She was sitting. Of course he wasn't in the cottage, but that's what you say in the complaint. That's what you say in your complaint.
He wasn't in the
I
cottage.
became uncomfortable there because this is this whole story you made up with your sister.
Right.
Because you did try to get a restraining order against him. Right. Just a second. You did go to court, restraining order against him. Now, did you try to get him off the property before or after your sister went to court to try to get against him?
Did I try to get him removed from the property before? Yes.
Yes. You tried to get him removed from the property before your sister. Police refused to put him off the property.
Yes.
That's a yes.
Yes.
Now, you see.
Brenda Conway has accused her former friend with benefits, Joseph Ethier, of withholding her property and card without permission. Joseph says Miranda filed a false restraining order against him.
So then your sister went to court and filed for an order, and she alleged, let me guess, in the restraining order that he put a gun to her head. Is that what you did?
Correct.
Get him off the property. Just a second. Ultimately, that restraining order was dismissed. Am I correct?
Correct.
But did you, in fact, between the time it was dismissed and the time you filed it, get him off the property?
Yes, I had to move out.
Just a second. Of course, because the judge said, wrote that he put a gun to your head, that he was a threat to you, so you and your sister managed to get him off the property. Right. And because for the restraining order hearing, or because the judge heard the hearing and dismissed it, it was dismissed.
Correct.
In a good mood.
So glad.
So I only have a couple of questions for you, sir, now that my job is made easier, because I know who I'm dealing with.
Yes.
And I know a little bit about whom I'm dealing with on this side. There are a couple of easy parts to this story now that we understand who want from you like $9,000. Yes. You took her car?
No, I did not take her car.
Do you know who took her car?
Yes, I do.
Who did? The ex-girlfriend was also a girlfriend when you were sort of friends with benefits with her in March, or not?
We split up. That's why I rented the house.
And your ex-girlfriend's name is? and the car was impounded. Do you know when your ex-girlfriend took the car?
No, I do not.
Is that information?
No, I did not. I never spoke to the police about a car.
How did you find out that your car was in impound?
I came in on my flight from Oregon on July house. My car was gone. I thought maybe it got towed, and so I called the city to see if it got towed. They said no, it didn't get towed. I tried calling Rich several times until I called him to see if maybe he had the car for some reason. He never did answer my call, and then July 4th, I reported the car stolen. July 24th, got a hold of me, Facebook messaged me, said that...
Just a second. Don't tell me what she said to you. If you have it in your phone, I will look at it. Okay. So he said, girlfriend took the car. Mm-hmm. So now I'd like to see what you have from her in your text messages. I don't have a whole bunch of time here.
I'm trying then I don't know how to spell her name.
Well, listen to me. It is your allegation took your car without your permission.
I have a sworn statement from the person that he took the car to, saying that he brought the car there.
Just a second.
When the cops found
proof. If you have a police report, I will read a police report.
And then I have the conversation.
Okay. So now I have a report that you made of a stolen vehicle. Now, who took the car?
Right. I didn't know who took the car. And this was the face. Maybe she deleted her account before coming here.
Just a second. The only thing that I'm entertaining now is impound and what it costs you to get the car out of impound. And in order to do that, I have to determine if he took the car in retaliation or for whatever reason, or somebody else to take the car. Did you tell your girlfriend to take the car?
Never.
Okay, your ex-girlfriend to take the car. So now you have exactly 30 seconds to produce why we're here today. That's one of the allegations. Okay.
This is the
just a second. I just want to see proof that he who took your car.
Okay, so here's the Facebook messages from her. And another one, she's giving me the address. I have to
just a second. I want to see.
This is from the guard too, where the cops found the car. It's a statement from him.
Jim,
saying that.
I don't read a statement from anybody.
Okay. And then there's the impound fee.
Find it.
Are your ex-girlfriend's name? Are you sure that you don't want to acknowledge to me that you had something to do with getting her car impounded?
I had nothing to do with it.
That you her car off the premises?
Never drove. No, I did not.
Did your girlfriend drive the car off the premises?
Apparently she did.
No, not apparently.
Yes.
Were you with her? That's either a yes or a no.
Yes.
De Conway has accused her former Fitz, Joseph Ethier, of withholding her property and using her debit card without permission. Joseph says Miranda filed a false restraining.
On what date were you in communication with the now ex-girlfriend?
Here and there, ever since.
Here and there and everywhere.
Did
you just the car?
No.
Who's?
He's a friend of mine.
Tell me what he had to do with this car, sir.
Apparently, the car was found on his property, apartment complex, or.
Now, he's your friend.
Yes, he is.
Yes, you're going to pay the impound fees, $330.
Okay.
As well as
don't speak. Listen.
My stereo was pulled out of it.
Listen. Did you take his stuff?
No.
Did you take anything that belongs to him? At some point, did you take it and then give it?
I did.
Did you take it and give it back?
Yes.
That's all I asked you. You took it and you gave it back.
But it was stuff that I gave him that I took.
Who cares? Once you give something, that's a gift. Take it and give it back, and then take it and give it back. You took his things.
That's not true.
I didn't ask you anything. Okay. Now, what prop of hers that you were holding on to as a result of this stupid seat situation?
What I did was withheld her stuff from her that she left in the house.
Where is it?
I left it in the house when I left.
What stuff?
Her clothes, everything she left in the house.
Is still there?
It was still there. I have a video of documentation of when I left the house.
That you claim.
He took the whole house. Everything in that house was mine. He took the whole house. And more than anything, I just want my videos back of my kids, and because he's passed away, and that's all that we have. I don't care if he keeps my stuff. I want the videos back.
Okay. Very carefully.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an equal opportunity abuser.
I understand.
And everything in the house was mine because I was living there.
So was he.
Not by my choice.
Listen, it's because you slept with him there.
Right. My mistake for sleeping with him.
Well, just a second. It was your mistake because you slept with him there.
Right.
I mean, he wasn't a trespasser. I'm never going to figure out this whole scenario. I'm really getting a zhuzh in my head as a result of this. She wants her stuff. Did you?
No, I did not.
That means that you still have some of it.
I don't have any of it. When I left the premises, I left it in the house. When I got thrown out of the house, I had 15 minutes to get my stuff. So my stuff, I left. My friends went back to get what they could of mine, and they left everything of hers. And
Just a second. So is what you're telling me theirs went in?
Yes.
Asked your friends to go in and get stuff.
My stuff.
They took other stuff.
No, what they... Okay, while they were doing it, we were doing the duo video chat or whatever, and I was pointing out to them what to take and what not to take. And at the end, I had her video everything that was left in the house, which is on my phone, and it's all her stuff.
I have pictures of the house when we came into it. It was completely emptied out. I have pictures of the house and pictures of my stuff in the room, and then when we got entry into the house and it all being emptied out.
What?
He took the blinds off.
I mean,
of the
he
window.
left it bare.
Let me explain something to you. Hard when people start out by lying to me to have any sympathy whatsoever for them.
The person
That-
started
just
out
a-
lying was him.
No, out lying was you.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, yeah. You want me to read you what you wrote in your complaint? You want me to read you the first
I have
line?
my timeline
No, no,
if
no.
you want to go
No,
out now.
just something swore to in your complaint. I've read it to you before.
Right.
And it bears no reasonable resemblance to the story that just came out here today. And so with what you're saying to me, and now you can sit, if what you're saying to me is the only thing that you're interested in are the tapes and photographs which are irreplaceable that were taken, he doesn't have them.
Yes, he
So
does.
I can't place the value on
I
them.
have his friend
Judge-
Bobby was the one who
And
went and
my
picked up
door
my
that
stuff.
got
I have a friend,
speak.
his best friend, saying that he paid him to go clean out the house. I have it recorded.
Just a
on my
second.
phone.
Just a second. What I'm telling you is, if what you're that you want money for the storage of the car and getting it out of impound, that
And
you're
the
going to
fraud
get.
on my
Just a
account.
second. That your next thing that you complain about are things that were taken out of the house. The things that you told me that you really want are memorabilia. He says he doesn't have them.
He's lying.
Well, he may be lying, so are you. I don't know. The final thing that I have to deal with are debit. So now I want you to show me what you claim he took out from your debit card.
He made online purchases.
Just a second.
A debit card.
Just a second.
I always physically had it, but he took a picture of my debit card and then made online purchases from my debit card.
All I'm asking you is to show me that he made
Everything that's
online
circled.
purchases from your debit card.
Okay.
I just need proof that he
June and
made
July. I found out about it in July.
anything that you are giving to Kevin. Demonstrate that he used your debit card.
Yes.
Fine. Don't hampers. Take a pen. Point out where he.
I already did. They're circled.
Perfect.
That's June, and I have July here. Items I found in the house when I gained entry, which was a tool bag that he bought from Home Depot for $389. I have that receipt here on my phone.
Okay.
Some combat.
$9 for something. Shh. Amazon debit purchase $54. Doesn't say for what. Amazon purchase was delivered to the house, and that was in June. Were you still living together?
I left the house in June 6th.
You left the house June 6th.
It
Just a
happened
second.
June 8th.
When did you return to the house?
I never did.
After June.
I returned there August 5th.
Oh.
And I have a picture of it. There was a $389 tool bag bought from HomeDepot.com, shipped to the house, that was in the house when I gained entry into the house, which I took from the house. And then
Defendant Joseph Ethier used her debit card without permission and threatened her with a gun. Joseph claims the restraining order against missed.
Well, both of you made charges on this.
No.
Both of you made charges
buy
on the debit
anything
card.
online.
However, I have to ask you this question, Miss. There's something here that has to do with muscle men. What is that?
I have no idea. No idea
their
whatsoever.
melon is impotent.
That's not true, yeah.
Well, then you stayed with the wrong guy for a couple of months.
I never, ever charged
Just-
any. Okay.
Is what you're telling me says that it was shipped or that you ordered it, unless you can show me, other than the fact that you circled things that say.
I've got my whole year history here. I don't buy anything on Amazon. And I have Home Depot recorded statements from them saying that everything did get shipped. I recorded my conversations with them that everything was shipped, so they reversed the credit. I have it all recorded.
I don't want to listen to the bank. That's still hearsay, madam. I want to see proof that you have that he debit card.
So he bought,
Just
so
not just
on that bank statement, there is a Home Depot charge for $389 that he bought this tool bag with that I took from the seat from Home Depot right here.
Okay, now, you now have that item.
That's correct.
Okay. Tell me about that item.
That is what my witness for. The tool bags was his tool bag that she stole out of my truck. She broke into my truck and took...
Just a second. Who purchased it?
I don't know. It wasn't me. And it wasn't several times
It happens
accusing.
to be the same one.
I have her accusing 3 different people of using her card. Me, him, his girlfriend, and then back to me again.
Well, that's part. These tools were purchased at Home Depot. Listen to me.
Yes.
The tools were purchased at Home Depot.
Right.
She took that were in the house. She saw there must have been a lot of tools, either in the house or in the truck.
Just a tool
But
bag.
she paid for them.
No, ma'am. These were his he took.
No, this was a brand new tool bag that I have the receipt for. They
I'd
even
like
gave
to
me
see it.
a picture of it.
I'd like to see it.
Okay, so here's the receipt.
She has a receipt. That would mean she would pay for it.
Well, there's the receipt, and then the next picture over is the tool bag I got from the house. And just happens to be the same tool bag as in my receipt.
And you took it?
I did.
You have any use for it?
Give
Did
it
you
to the cops for evidence.
I tried to give it to the cops for
Just a
evidence.
second.
Yeah.
Don't speak. This isn't a dance.
And then there was $953 in purchases, and one of them was for a Plenty of Fish dating site that I asked Plenty of Fish to invest profile.
Okay. $841. That includes the 2 things that I find over there that were in fact yours. $330 for the towing, judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished. Thank you.
What about my other account?
Court is adjourned.
You should be very lucky that I'm awarding you anything. You used the court to get him out of the house with a false allegation because you couldn't get him out of the house otherwise. You're very lucky, Penny. Do you understand? I don't think that the courts are supposed to be abused like that when housing court is... Just a second. You had a choice not to commit fraud by lying to the court and telling them that something happened that was violent, that didn't happen because the 3 of you have a crazier arrangement. So what I'm telling you is, you're lucky you got a penny. We're done here now.
And what about my stuff?
We're done.
Well, I don't believe she should have been awarded anything because I never stole a car, never bought a tool belt. She stole that from me out of my...
Him committing fraud on my account, stealing my car, taking over my house, and just being a nuisance, really.
As far as I know, she went out and purchased it and had something as evidence against me or whatever. But other than that, yeah, it's a lot better than $9,000.
Of course he's going to deny that.
Never had a firearm, never pointed a gun to her head.
I don't know guns. I don't know what kind of gun it was. You know, because it was at my head, and it was at night, and the lights weren't on.
I mean, she says she left the next day. I thought, if I were me, I would have left immediately. Press charges, right?
So I don't know anything about like 22, or I don't know anything about guns.
Calling the police to try to get them to get me out of the house when I had my rights and stuff, so they couldn't do it. So.
And I'm just glad he's gone. Trying to protect myself, and I got a bad picker.
That case was exhausting.
I could tell you were confused from start to finish. It was just
They know what happened, but because it's so bizarre,
they tried to tell another story.
It was so confusing when I the complaint and the answer, and so inconsistent with what they were telling me.
Almost every line. Almost every line.
Almost every line. And where both parties are trying to obfuscate the truth that you actually lose interest. The primary thing and has always irritated me is when you abuse the court system to get something done, to get it done illegally, indict it. You're willing to sign a document that says, I, being duly sworn, deposes and says, he put a gun to my head, etc. Somebody looks at that, we're going to put you out of the house. We're going to prevent you from seeing your children, when it's used as a mechanism rather than the truth. So she is that she got any money.
That, and when they try and use that same court to their benefit, the same court that they had just...
He's suing cat breeder Jeffrey Taylor. for vet bills and the cost of 2 Bengal kittens.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. How are you? Case number 1143, Arthur Huseby versus Taylor.
Huseby.
Yes.
Your complaint is a relatively simple one. You claim that Mr. Taylor is responsible for all of your cats getting ringworm and being sick, bills, and a whole bunch of other things, $10,000 worth.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Taylor says he felt a certain amount of sympathy for you initially when you had extensive vet bills because he sold you 2 kittens.
Yes.
Did he ever pay any of the vet bills early on?
Yes.
How much did he pay?
The approximate, I don't know, but I can tell you it's around $1,200.
How much money did you pay?
I believe 13 something.
You bought 2 kittens for him on what date?
May 2021.
And they were Bengal kittens?
Yes.
How old were they on May 24th?
About 11 weeks.
By the time they're 11 weeks old, they usually get some shots. Had you given them any shots?
Yes.
Which shots had they gotten?
I don't recall exactly what it is, but it's called a 4-way. They receive a 4-way of shots. It's 1 shot.
Do you remember how old they were?
Give them at 7 to 8 weeks.
How many kittens were there in the litter of these kittens? Because you had the litter, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I believe there was 4.
And how much does she pay for the 2 kittens that she purchased?
$1,500 a piece.
So she paid $3,000.
Correct.
And you have both parents.
Correct.
Been in the breeding business.
10 years.
When the plaintiff purchased the kittens, was there a contract?
No.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, you took them month of May.
Yes.
You had other cats at home. What other kind of cats did you have at home?
1 Bengal, 1 year old, and 1 calico, 10 years old.
Was a year-old was a male?
Yes.
Neutered or not?
No.
So you planned on breeding the cats?
Yes.
Because you bought 2 females?
Yes.
Is the calico cat or an outdoor cat?
Indoor cat.
And what about the Bengal?
Indoor. He's been let out a couple times, but not on purpose.
But he's both indoor and he goes outside.
He just escaped a couple times, so he's indoor. He's indoor.
I'm just letting you know that I'm familiar with Bengal cats.
Okay.
And they like it outside. They like to prowl. That's after the 24th of May. When did you take the kittens to the vet?
It would have been the 29th.
Show me.
That I brought them.
Show me the May 29th.
I brought the kittens to the vet, and they were.
I have to see
the
vet's record. You can't. Anybody told you?
Okay.
You have to show me the vet's record. They're a business record.
Okay, Your Honor, I have the next record that previous
Just a
record.
second, and I'll see what you have.
Okay.
So you didn't bring the record of May 29th?
No, but
just a second.
No.
When did you take them to the vet? To the 29th.
7/11.
So a month and a half later.
Yes.
Yes. All right. I'm going to take a look at that, please.
Okay.
Kevin.
There's several of them under you.
No, don't grab them all. 7/11.
No, that's all for that day because it was every single cat.
No, I don't want every single cat. I want the 2 kittens. Okay, so about a month and a half later.
Yes.
The 2 kittens, as well as your cats, had ringworm.
And I have the positive ringworm results, but there was another medical problem that I have the other
Yeah, he's not
documents for.
responsible for their ringworm.
Okay, the problem they had is when I purchased the kittens, they were sick, and I have the photos and the documents from the vet.
Well, let me ask you this question, Ms. Huseby. According to what I read here in the doctor's notes.
Yes.
And I believe that the defendant acknowledges that he said to you, they have that correct.
Yes.
So when you took the kittens to the vet,
yes,
and I say this to you as somebody who is very familiar with cats in my life, probably during a psychotic episode, I'm only teasing about that, had 6 cats, Persians, and that was 30 years ago, until my immune system crapped out on me and I couldn't be near cats. These were all long-haired cats. So I'm going to tell you a story so you'll understand where I'm coming from. These were purebred that we bought sort of one at a time. We bought a silver-shaded Persian, we bought a Persian, we bought a Himmy, a seal point Himmy, and a blue point Himmy, and we loved those cats. We'd run lunchtime, we'd leave court in the Bronx and run home to our apartment and check on the cats and make kittens and make sure that they were okay. We lived in an apartment, so they never went out. We had them, I don't know, about 6 months, 7 months, and they all developed ringworm. Now, I didn't. My husband knows if he'd had ringworm, he'd be living in another jurisdiction. And I remember going to take the cats in their carrier, the vet, all 6 of them, one Saturday morning, and it was pouring outside. And here we took such good care of these cats for them. There was one small one that didn't like to eat with the rest of the cats, so she ate up on the counter. A little white, beautiful kitten, because she would be standoffish, and the larger ones wouldn't let her get her share. So these were spoiled cats who were almost empty nesters. That's what happens. You're not there yet. And we're leaving our apartment building carrying, each one of us is with a couple of kittens, a couple of larger cats. And you could see the ringworm around here, little spots. It starts to lose hair. Is that what happens with? And jumping from one garbage can to the other in front of our apartment building was this alley cat with a sleek coat. But he took care of it. It took care of itself. It went from garbage can to garbage can, got what it needed to eat, what it needed to lap up water from the rainwater, found someplace dry to sleep, I assume, because it didn't have a collar on, but it was sleek and healthy. As it was looking at us, it could see the kittens through the thing, so it stopped and it opened up. They had beautiful green eyes, and I said, I don't understand this. We take good care of our kittens. How did they get ringed?
Arthur Hughesby claims cat breeder Jeffrey Taylor owes for the cost of vet selling her 2 Bengal kittens with a serious illness.
Okay, you had these kittens for a little over a month and a half unnosed by a vet with ringworm.
Yes.
And when you took the kittens, they had a cold. You took them on the 24th. You don't have the 4th.
Your Honor, I have a different record that states the day that they came in a few days after the 24th, that they were previously seen on that date, bringing the kittens in every few weeks and once a month because of the colds. So I don't have the first one.
And you don't have the first one. What is, when you took them in,
yes,
and you notified Mr. Taylor,
yes,
his response was initially for the cold, for those bills. And he did give you $1,300 towards those bills.
Yes.
Which you accepted.
Yes.
Did you at any time, the time you took them to the vet and the vet said they had a cold, say to Mr. Taylor, even though we don't have a contract, I'm prepared to take the kittens back and give you your money?
State. Yes.
When? On what date did you say that to him?
About the 28th. So it's about the middle of the week.
May 28th?
Yes. Not even a week after
Okay, a second. And on May 28th, what did the defendant say to you? That they have a cold, their cold isn't getting better?
It wasn't a cold, it was a respiratory infection.
Okay. Paid for that?
Yes.
Okay.
And
so he paid for that. Did you say, or did he say, give them back? Or did you say, I want to give them back? You take care of the rest.
Yes, I'm going to tell you exactly what I said. So
I'd like to hear it.
The vet had told me...
You cannot tell me, listen to me. You cannot tell me anything. If you have records, business records, like I just read from the vet, I will see them.
Yes.
But you cannot tell me what the vet said to you. You can tell me the defendant, and the defendant said to you on the 28th of May.
Okay, I do have it in the note from the vet that I mentioned to him. The vet said, okay.
That's not happening.
Okay.
That's not happening, Ms. Hughesby.
I mentioned to him that they possibly might have a viral disease. I said, if they have this disease, maybe it's just a cold, can I get my money back? And he said, if they have that disease, then he could put them down and give me new kittens, get my money back.
Just a second. So he said to you, if they have that disease, they should probably not be bred, right? Correct. Them for, and I will take them back, I'll put them down and give you new kittens. Just a second. And you rejected that because we're now at the end of October and you still...
Yes, but you can't put them down for that.
Just a second.
It's
you
not
can?
a
Just a second.
life-threatening disease.
Just a second. If it's not a life-threatening, Ms. Hughesman, you have to pull yourself together. It's not a life-threatening disease, but you wouldn't want to breed kittens that have that.
Exactly.
So he said to you, that disease, I will replace those kittens, even though he doesn't have to, because you don't have a contract with him. But he said that to you. You chose not to do that on curiosity because there is no contract other than she bought kittens, she took them home, you paid for the first round of respiratory illnesses for, you get the results of the tests for those kittens. Do they have that disease?
Yes.
Okay. So, them.
No.
Can I see the results of that test?
Yes. There's one more result too. 1 second.
I just want to see.
And they gave it to my older cat, too.
So it's a communicable disease. It's not a disease that's in the DNA.
It's in the blood. So that's how they test it.
They had a virus.
It's
a virus.
It's a herpes
It's a virus.
Get rid of it. It's medically proven you can't get rid of it.
I don't know that.
Your Honor, I have one more that states, because the doctor, without blood testing them, said this is...
You can't what the doctor said.
It in here.
If you want me to read a report, I will read a report.
This is before they blood tested it. On the second page...
I'm a reader. That's what I do. Okay, so?
It was stating for the respiratory. They put notes in there like, you know, that it has the herpes and that hopefully they will improve. So that was before I got it blood tested, but they knew from looking at it.
You can't
it had
listen
all
to
the
me.
symptoms.
You cannot tell me what they thought, what they knew.
Well, later on it did test positive.
It also, and I know that you're upset, and I don't minimize the fact that you're upset and that you are attached to these kittens now. You bought these 2 kittens. You took them home knowing that they had a cold. If I went and bought an animal and the animal didn't look right to me, I would say, you know what, I'm not taking this. It doesn't look right to me. But you decided to do that. The defendant, who's been in the business for 10 years, said to you, they have a cold. That's what I see.
He did that.
Well, you saw that. That's what you said in your complaint.
Yeah,
okay?
But he acted like, it's nothing. I see it all the time.
Just a second. That's all right. You're buying a product, 2 kittens. It's just like if you went and bought a car, and when you started it up, it started to smell a little bit. And the person who was selling you this car, it says, oh, they always start up and they smell like this. It's until the oil burns off. Well, if you want to accept that explanation and take your problem, you smelled it, you saw it. The person who's giving you said, well, it's not really a problem. And it may not be a problem, but 6 months later, it's because there's an oil leak. That you don't have a contract with that person unless you do, in fact, have a contract with them. That there's a certain amount of time that you have to check by a vet, and if within 10 days, and I've seen those contracts thousands of times, you didn't have that. You happen to have what to be a legitimate breeder who said to you, I feel badly that you have to take the cats in for this respiratory, and I will pay that vet bill. But then when they develop ringworm and you have other cats in the house, a month and a half later, then problem, according to what I read, he's not an insurer of your cats.
Your Honor, the ringworm came up a week later. I have receipts for stuff that I bought at home before I brought them to the vet.
It still doesn't make him responsible.
And I went to the courts where we live, and I got the paperwork. They said it was illegal for him to sell that.
You can't tell me what any...
Has accused cat breeder Jeffrey Taylor of selling her 2 Bengal kittens in... Jeffrey says he offered to take the kittens back, but Jade refused.
Okay, what I'm telling you is you don't have a...
The state we live in, they said it's illegal to sell without a contract and to sell while it's sick.
Okay. You have to be able to establish that the defendant's cats were sick. That's number one. I'm going to ask him a question. Sarah's going to look it up. Where do you come from?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. What county? Anoka County. Look up Anoka County sale of domestic animals. There were 2 other kittens in this litter, sir.
Yes.
Treated for ringworm.
No.
Did either of the 2 people to whom you sold the 2 other kittens report to you that their kittens had ringworm?
But, Your Honor, he told me on the phone, oh, my dad had the ringworm because his dad helps him with the kittens. Just put some shampoo and buy some cream. I told him that a week later. A week later, the ringworm came up, and I bought stuff to treat it at home, but it wouldn't get rid of it.
Just a second. Excuse me. He's not an insurer of your kittens.
But he said they had it over there. Now he's saying that they didn't.
Well, just a second. Did he ever... What? Did he tell you when your cats were done that his cats were diagnosed with... Just think about the answer to my question.
No.
He never said my cats also had...
He paid the bill. Why'd he pay the bill if he didn't think he was guilty?
Maybe he was just a nice person and he felt sorry for you. But he's not paying you $10,000. That's less you can establish to me, and I don't know what the law says.
So there is a law that no animal may be offered for sale by a broker or pet dealer until the animal's pet. and the rights of the purchaser if within 10 days after receipt of the animal by a purchaser, a veterinarian states in writing that the animal has a health problem that of purchasing, they should have 2 business days to inform the breeder and return the animal.
And return the animal. Okay, so kittens, according to you, within that 10-day period to a doctor.
Yes.
And you informed the defendant.
Yes.
And you were in 2 days.
Yes.
And at that time, did you ask to return the kittens?
At that time.
The answer is either yes or no.
Yes, after the visit.
And what did he say to you?
If they have that disease.
No, not if they have the disease. We're not talking about that disease.
Okay.
We're talking about
I told
the
him,
cold.
yes.
We're talking about accepted payment of him for either $1,200 or $1,300 for treating them for that cold and upper respiratory infection.
Yes.
That was the issue,
Yes.
because you didn't want to return the kittens.
I asked him about getting my money back for the kittens, which obviously I'd return, get the money back. No, if they are diseased, then we will put the cats down and I will give you new kittens.
And you said no.
Yes. Okay. You can't put the cats down for that.
Okay. You have the kittens now?
Yes.
How are they?
They still have respiratory problems. I just brought them in last week. And I keep giving them the medication. It's because of the disease. It causes viral respiratory problems.
What do you want to do, Ms. Hughes? You do. Would you return the kittens to the defendant and say, I'm giving you the kittens. If you're going to put them down, put them down. I want my money back. The question is that what you want to do? I'm not saying that that's what I will do. I'm just asking you, is that what you want to do?
No, they diseased us too.
Well,
I can't just get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? All my cats are diseased. I mean, I'd have to get rid of all my cats.
And what I'm telling you is you have proof that it's his fault.
From the day I brought them home, they had symptoms of the disease.
Madam, he says that his kittens and his cat for ringworm on or about the time that your cats developed ringworm. So if the kittens brought the ringworm into your house, that means they had to bring them in from his house. But it's possible that your Bengal that does go outside brought ringworm into the house. I don't say it happened. I think it wasn't a contract for him to pay the vet bill for the respiratory illness.
He's not. He wasn't pleasant like he was saying.
I didn't say he was pleasant. I said pay.
He wasn't pleasant.
Pleasant. He doesn't have to be pleasant. You paid him $1,500 for a kitten. He's not an insurer of entire cattery.
But he sold me a disease.
We're done. Thank you very much. Your case is
adjourned.
I felt that I went above and beyond the issues that she had with the cats at the beginning, which I didn't have to do. I hope they do have a good home, and I hope they're taken care of, and I think that she will take care of them. She does seem...
I remember that story about you and Poppy taking all of the cats in their carriers back to the vet and seeing that stray cat. And I plaintiff, because I understand that she was in a tough moral position. She doesn't want to return the cats knowing that they're going to be put down for this disease, but she doesn't want to keep in her home. So I understand, but it's a tricky spot to be in. And sometimes the alley cats, no matter how well you take care of your cat, come out on top.
That's true. Call Poppy. Call him an alley cat. Yes, I did feel sorry for her. But there's a good legal lesson.
Mm-hmm.
When you buy an animal, you're supposed to have a contract to provide that you have a certain amount of time, days, to take the cat to a vet and have the vet make a diagnosis. And if the diagnosis kitten, you feel as if the kitten or the dog or the puppy is sick, you have 5 days in which to return the animal for a full replacement at either your option or the seller's option. That's a clear contract. Here, she paid $1,500. That was no. She saw that the kittens had runny nose and eyes. She took them anyway, took them to the vet, called him. He said, gee, I'm sorry. Or you just have to say, listen, this is my responsibility. It's not somebody else's fault.
Is suing jet ski renter Amanda Hartley for property damages and lost revenue.
Court come to order. Hello, Judge.
How are you, Kevin?
Good. Case number 1142, Wisman versus Hartley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Wisman, you have a renting jet skis?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you had the business?
April 2021.
What did you do before that?
I was in the military, and I work in missile defense also, full-time job.
So this is sideline.
It is.
Did you buy equipment?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you buy?
I have 3 sets of jet skis.
When was the first time you...
September of 2020.
What kind?
Sea-Doo watercraft.
Were they new or used?
Used.
How much did you pay for them?
7,000. One's a 2006, one's a 2008.
Take a look. And you had 3 sets, you said.
Correct.
When did you buy the second set?
Set I bought in April of this year, 2021.
Were they also used?
Yes, ma'am. 2006 and 2008.
Also Sea-Doos?
One's a Sea.
How much did you pay for them?
$14,500.
What was the difference?
The market,
Fascinating.
Yeah,
That's
everything was
fascinating.
going a lot higher than Blue Book value.
Because they couldn't get parts and stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
I know. Car manufacturers have the same. So you paid double for pretty much the same thing.
Pretty close.
And when did you buy the third set?
July of this year.
And what did you buy?
They're actually 1997. A friend who had them in storage and just wasn't using them and asked if I wanted to use them in my rental business.
And they're still working?
No.
No.
They had been sitting for a couple years and they weren't running, and they're still with the mechanic.
They're still not
They haven't
running.
been used at all.
How much
this
did you
summer.
pay them for those? Oh, not bad.
No.
Okay. So the ones that you rented to Miss Hartley were the ones that you purchased in April of 2021?
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim damaged.
Yes.
And the defendant said, well, they may have hit a rock or two, but nothing serious. Is that your answer? Well, did I make that up? I don't know.
No,
a
so
second.
there were some
Just a
rocks at
second.
the lake.
Hold on 1 second.
So for 2006 Sea-Doo, depends like they range between $7,000 and $11,000.
For 2006?
Yes.
So you got a bargain in 2020?
Yeah, when I bought them, it was a lot lower though too.
Yeah, amazing. Okay. I thought that you indicated here that, yeah, you may have anchored them someplace. They may have hit. They
There were
weren't.
some rocks at the lake, but not that I had run into any rocks.
No, I didn't say you ran into a rock. I didn't say you ran into a rock. I thought it said that you sort of anchored them doing something and they may have hit up against a rock. Isn't that what you said?
I mean, maybe I misunderstood you, but I didn't write up against on rocks.
No, I didn't say that you wrote against. Indicate to the plaintiff that when you had the jet skis out, you had anchored them. They did have anchors?
Yes.
You had anchored them and maybe gone for a swim, whatever. And they may have hit from a wave, from a current, they may have hit against a rock.
Yes.
Okay. Now, that you think about, like, the baby burped on my jet ski. That's so, oh my goodness, I anchored it too close to rocks. I heard it hitting up against the rock, so you heard it.
No, I had it anchored up at a boat dock, of which is really where they should be, right? So there are rocks around the lake, but not that I was allowing them to repeat and hit against rocks or that I was hearing them against any rocks. We checked on them throughout the night. They weren't really moving. They seemed very okay. Wasn't very windy.
Do you have photographs of them?
I do.
I'd like to see them. Partly, when you took the jet skis, what color were they?
So the jet skis were supposed to be red ones. That was the ones that we discussed from you picking up. That's the ones that was listed.
Ones, sir, are the ones from 2020?
Yes.
The ones that you used were the ones that you purchased in 2021?
Correct.
Okay. Is there any, you switched them?
I believe they had broke from the previous rental.
The ones from 2020?
Yeah, they were in the shop, so set left. And when we did discuss it, I wasn't 100% sure whether it was going to be the red ones or the ones I had.
Doesn't matter.
Your Honor, if I may speak, that's not what he had said to me on the day that we met.
What did he tell you?
So that day, I viewed the Sea-Doo and I viewed the Yamaha, and the ones were out, rented, had not been brought back yet. That the Sea-Doo and that the Yamaha is not what I would be taking out because they had rocks sucked up in them. He still had to go through and clean it out from people that dropped it off, left it damaged with him. And then when I went and picked up and paid the rest of the amount to take jet skis out, these were the ones with me. So since he changed his mind on that, and these were what was sent out with me, I presumed that they were safe to drive and that they had been repaired.
Let me ask you, this one both out?
I did.
Okay, and you used them?
Yes.
Owner Jeremy Wisman claims Amanda Hartley's jet skis while renting them.
Let me ask you this question. Did you take them both out?
I did.
Okay, and you used them?
Yes.
And did you take the trailer? Anything happened with the trailer?
So with the trailer, it was missing pins, and so we had to purchase our own pins with the trailer. And then the lights were not working, so we had to put that trailer. So when we dropped off the trailer and the jet skis, I had let him know that the lights were not working. I had to then purchase my own.
Did you send him that by text or by phone?
By message, yes. Let's see.
Mr. Wisman, the prior people who you said rented the jet ski, You said that they damaged them, which is possible when somebody uses jet skis. Because I know my own grandchildren ride around like lunatics in them when they have an opportunity. Why don't you have insurance if this is...
I do have personal insurance.
Not personal insurance. I'm talking about any kind of insurance for damage to your business, to your property.
Well, business insurance was...
Skis.
They
You
are
paid
insured.
$14,000 for them. I'm just curious.
So I do have insurance on them. I have that right here. The reason I don't want to make a claim is because my insurance skyrockets or they would drop me because I have so many pieces of equipment insured on them.
Oh, well, that's a problem.
Your Honor.
You see the text messages. That, Mr. Wisman, might be your problem.
Can I speak for a moment, please?
Yes, in a second. Wait, I'm reading this. Do you have the next page of this? This is on June 19th at 12:41 p.m. We haven't made it to the lake yet. Someone must have drove the trailer into the water in the lights. The brake lights don't work, and there's no keys to the blue jet ski. Then you write back, the key was in the center console. They worked when you guys were in both.
They picked them up at 10 o'clock at night. The lights worked.
Right here is where it says that
Just-
I bought some
don't-
lights.
don't-
Okay.
Don't read it, just give it. Thank you. What does this mean, no sucked?
He had asked me, was there water and rock sucked up in it? Because when I picked those ones up, he said that's what he had to clean out, what was in those CDs and the Yamaha prior for me picking it. I was going to have the red ones instead of those.
Got it. Would you show this to the plaintiff, please, and tell him to explain that to me?
This is her telling me that she didn't suck any rocks up.
The front part of that jet ski is what I am aware of the...
Let me know exactly how you damaged the front of the jet ski.
I was driving into the front of the shore and then gravely bumped against the...
And when you bumped against the boat dock, what happened to the jet ski?
So that's when the front piece of that plastic piece had broke.
Was there any damage to the Sea-Doo? Okay, you drove the Sea-Doo.
Yes.
Could you stand up for me, please? Your last name is?
Hartley.
Mr. Hartley, your wife drove the Yamaha.
Yes.
Did you stay on those all weekend?
We probably switched back and forth, but...
Okay. Did you have any accident?
No, ma'am.
Hit anything?
Nope.
Did you see any damage to the Sea-Doo?
No.
And when you returned them, the damage that you saw, Yamaha, was this front panel damage that your wife had done.
Yeah.
How much did you pay the plaintiff?
$480.
Weekend?
For the weekend, yes.
For the two?
The deposit was $300, and then when we picked him up, we had paid him the $180, and he said that was fine.
And the Moth, was he there?
Yes, so I assume he was inside his home. We were messaging. As I was there at his home, I'm texting him, hey, I'm here. Do you want to come outside and overview these? To come outside and look at them.
May I see those texts?
Oh, I don't believe I have those of him declining to come outside.
Well, I'd like to see him indicating that you're there.
I never got that text.
I don't think I have it within this, but we were
Well, that's
texting the whole
important.
way that we were there.
That's important.
My last message to her was at 10:45 that night, saying that since there's no daylight and I had to work the next day, to go ahead in the front yard.
Got it. So you just told her to leave it?
I told her to leave it at 10:45, but I never received any response back. No, I'm here.
And she left it. And the next day you looked and you saw damage.
Yes, ma'am.
And the only thing that she advised you of was damage to the blue Yamaha.
She did say there are scuffs and stuff on the bottom of the holes also.
Well, they may...
But she wasn't sure if that was still there. But they
It
weren't
also
scuffs. They were
indicated that I
giant
didn't
holes.
believe it
in
was
them.
from me.
They would...
Yeah, like what you saw in the pictures.
Okay. I would like to see the repair bill. And I would like to see why, if you have these insured, why insurance unless you have a deductible.
They're not fully repaired yet. So I don't have the repair bill.
Your Honor, I have right here that he is still, they must be fixed because he has them listed online.
May I see it?
Yes. And from when I screenshot that yesterday, it said a week ago.
Is this the Yamaha you used?
Yes.
Did you list these out for rent, sir, after the...
I did, yes.
Yes.
I have them
The
patched.
answer is you did. So they must be available.
So they're patched. They're not fully fixed. And I haven't.
Oh,
They're
Mr.
at the
Wisman.
mechanic right now.
Mr. Wisman, unless you can show me an estimate to fix the front panel that she says was damaged, I'm just...
Bill, this is just the front piece.
I'd like to see it.
I ordered it and replaced it myself.
I'd like to see it. $114.59. That's the only piece you're getting reimbursed for.
Not the holes.
Oh, no. Not that you re-rent it again. I don't rent these things to and say, well, I patched them up and charged the exact same thing as she did, and then they use them. And with your patchwork, maybe they come off again. Maybe you say that they damaged them. Listen, Mr. Wisman, if you're running a business and your business is renting jet skis and you have insurance, then use it. But you're not jet skis. You're suing her for $10,000, which would make these things totally inoperable. But you're renting them to other people.
Once.
And later ski owner Jeremy Wisman is accusing his customer, Amanda Hartley, of damaging his jet skis and not returning all.
Listen, Mr. Wisman, if you're running a business and your business is renting jet skis and you have insurance, then use it. But you're not renting damaged jet skis. You're $1,000, which would make these things totally inoperable. But you're renting them to other people.
Once.
You're renting them.
They're going to be repaired. Fully.
Well, they're not going to be repaired by her.
Right now, it's the cosmetics.
$114.59. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished.
And what about all the things?
We're done.
I'm not happy with it.
I'm just glad that the good person won in this.
I got a patch on them.
So I try to make it right with have these excessive charges and have damages that were not mine. It was wrong.
They're going to be fixed fully this winter.
So that's when it needed to come to this.
They're just cosmetically not finished.
Probably through an actual business, not private renter.
Probably do it for another year and see what happens.
I actually was in a suit and tie and sounding very good when the defendant said, I sent him a note and I said, we didn't suck up, but I did damage the front and I'm sending you a picture of it. I thought two things were disingenuous about the plaintiff. A, he didn't use his insurance, and he said, well, my rates will go up. Well, otherwise then you're
stuck with the damage.
You're stuck with the damage because usually if you rent a car, either you pay for the insurance when you rent a car, you self-insure. And the second thing, and the most important thing was, he said there were gaping holes in them, and he took pictures of the holes. But then he acknowledged that he had rent. And then he said, I patched the holes. Who knows if a patch is good? You're out in the middle of a lake, and if the patch fails, then that's dangerous. Anyway, I was with him. If you're going to be in the business, this was our second jet ski case. I don't know why that's become such a popular business. I think probably because of the pandemic.
Yeah, I think people with their families outside.
We've seen our family with jet skis. Some are normal.
A few incidents here and there.
Some are normal. Some power them up and stand up on them, and you can ride them standing up and sitting down. By their very nature, they're designed to be driven aggressively. If they're driven by a 70 and an 80-year-old, then, you're lucky to sort of make it around the lake. Anyway, I didn't believe him. That's the bottom line.
For 1164, Angeles versus Keelan. Please step forward.
Jorge Angeles is suing his former friend. He can take the return of a car and a coin collection.
Miss Keeling.
Yes.
Where is this coin collection?
It's in the car, in my Volkswagen Jetta.
Where is it?
In front of my apartment.
How did you get here to court today?
A rental.
I have to tell you that I'm not liking your attitude.
Yes. Yes, I do understand.
Case is a relatively simple one. You and the defendant were friends. A certain period of time you were roommates. According to you, just fine when you needed a car. Friend was selling a car. According to the plaintiff, it was a Jetta. He agreed to advance the money for the car. He did pay him for the car. You didn't. He took the car. You went to the house and took his coin collection. That's how you have his coin collection. You were holding the coin collection as collateral to get the car back. He's a truck driver. While he was out of town, you went and took the car back.
Yes.
So far, you acknowledge all of that, right? Two things. Is anything today that I just said to you inaccurate?
Well, yes, as far as me going to his home, I rented out a room in his house. So
from when to when?
From December 2020 till I took the car in August.
Where was he when you took the car?
Out of town.
The car is in both your names?
Yes, it is.
It was in both your names because you were supposed to pay him for the car. He was going to take his name off the title. That was your agreement?
Yes.
Who has the title for the car?
George.
Great. Would you give me the title, please? I see it. Don't leave, Kevin. Where does she sign this car over to him? You know where? Right there. Sign it. Right now.
The date.
State it. Give it to him, please.
There you go, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
You getting an appearance fee for coming to court today? How much?
$250.
We're going to hold that. He's going to pick up his car, which you didn't pay for. Do you understand?
I understand. I understand.
If isn't there, or if there's any damage to the car, he's going to report it stolen because now he has full title to the car. Do you understand?
I understand.
Great. Where is the coin?
Car in the Volkswagen.
Where exactly in the car?
It's in the trunk.
Do you know where the car is now located?
Yes.
Do you have a second set of keys for the car?
Yes, I do.
You're not to go near the car again. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you do, he's going to call the police. Then we're going to play him this tape.
I understand.
Very good. You've got your car back, and you've got your coin collection back. It's in the trunk.
Okay.
Any difficulty, you let me know.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Court is adjourned.
I feel like he gave me the car as a gift
Well, I was just trying to help her get to go to her job.
because he wanted me to be his girlfriend.
We're just trying to be nice, not buy. You know, you don't buy people. You just be nice.
No, because he took the car from me first.
I was the one that offered her a car,
That was just out of revenge. I just took his coin.
so she will not be Ubering all the time.
I'm not mad. Car, I know what to do now.
Sarah Rose, that was easy peasy. That was very easy. You had a defendant who knew she was looking maybe to get over. She was nice looking, had a nice smile, took advantage.
Knew she took advantage.
Knew. So didn't even fight me on signing over the title?
He's now made whole, which is our job.
That's absolutely right. If you can walk out, thing happens, and we've done our
Mario Griffin for vandalism and emotional distress.
Court come to order. All right.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 1078, Levitt versus Griffith.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Lam, your complaint, it is your allegation that the defendant, who was your boyfriend and for a period of time you lived together, after the breakup of the relationship, vandalized both your house and your car. That's what you're suing him for.
Yes.
The defendant sort of acknowledges that he lost his temper once and he broke the house. He acknowledges that he did it, and he said he paid you $400 for the broken windows. As far as the other things are concerned, he denies that he caused any damage to your car. And he says, in addition, when you were living together, he purchased certain items for the house. He is no longer in the house, and he wants those items. In addition, he says that you filed a false police report against him, which we'll get to in a moment. That's what the case is about. So you have a counterclaim.
Yes.
So I need first, tell me the month and year that the two of you moved in together.
It was September 2017.
Did you move to he moved to your apartment, or did you move into an apartment or a house together?
We moved in together.
So you found an apartment together. Where had you been living previously?
And with his mom, and I was staying with mine.
And in 2017, when you moved in together, was the lease in both your names or in one name?
Mine.
For that. I mean, it's a very good idea, and one that I support, because if things don't work out, then somebody knows they have to go, rather than it being a joint involved.
Okay, well, with his background, he wasn't eligible to get on the lease. He couldn't pass a background check.
Okay. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you're still, as a couple, living in this apartment when the breakup took place?
Yes.
Okay. And the breakup took place what month, day, and year?
25th, 2021.
And it was not an amicable breakup, so he left quickly.
Yeah, he still had time to get his thing.
Okay. Discussed breaking up?
No, he just left on his own.
On January 25th, tell me what happened. She said you just decided to leave.
January 25th, I'm a truck driver, so I'd be over the road driving trucks, and Danielle would call me while I'm over the road disturbing me, asking me if I'm on the phone with me.
Okay, so she's being jealous.
Yes.
Okay.
And like I say, it was a big distraction, and it's kind of frustrating because I have a...
Okay. I got it that you didn't want a distraction, but you've been together now 4 years and living together in the same place for 4 years. And there's a reason for it based upon your counterclaim, sir.
Okay.
Had you planned on leaving?
Well, we talked about it. We had some conversations, and I was like that. And
on what date did you tell her that it wasn't working?
January the 25th.
Is that when you came home from a job?
Yes.
So you were at home?
Yes. I was escorted out by the police.
Well, that's not a just left.
Right.
I mean, I don't remember because I'm old, but I've been in various, but I don't remember ever calling the police to escort somebody out.
Well, that was the plan, was for me to just leave like that, but she felt like I was grabbing some of my things, and she called the police and lied.
Okay, just a second. So that the plaintiff called the police. Love it. On the 25th of January, do you want to tell me why you called the police?
The 25th of January, the police wasn't called. We had been arguing, and on that day, he does a lot of drinking. He was drunk, and he just decided to, start with me. It got to the point where yelling, what's going on. He left. He got his things. He left. He told me to keep whatever, don't worry about nothing. I'm done. I'm going to my mama's house. I could do.
Okay, so he left and he said, I'm going to my mother's house.
Yeah, that time the police was not called.
When were they called?
It was the previous time before that in 2020. That's not when.
Sometimes people need their recollection refreshed. Does it refresh your recollection, sir, that the police were called in the year 2020, January 25th, 2021, when you just left?
But also then.
You have any proof that they were called that day?
No, I don't have any proof, and I can also in on May 25th.
Okay, but you said you were leaving.
Yes.
And between January 25th and May, when did you and the plaintiff have any contact?
Yes, I actually moved back in.
When?
End of February, March.
Is that right? We took a breather.
Yes.
And you took him back.
Yes.
And that didn't work out, and there was an incident in May.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of incidents. Well, so
just a second.
May, we're not just.
Wait, wait, 1 second.
Mario Griffin vandalized her car and caused him. Mario is countersuing for his belongings and an assault.
Is what you're saying to me, Miss Lovett, that between June 5th, you and the defendant continued to have contact, and he moved back in at the end of March of 2021?
Yes.
Until when?
March till August 3rd.
Well, then I'm confused, and I'm confused because of this complaint that the damage you're complaining about happened on February 11th.
Yes, he left.
Just a second. And then damage to your windows and or your car. You resumed living together in March.
Yes, that's when he came back.
You continued living several months.
Yes.
Sleeping together.
Yes.
Eating together.
Yes.
Socializing together.
Yes.
Then quite what happened in February. And neither does any court care what happened in February. You two were keeping house. There's a word in the law called condonation, and that means it's between a couple. And they have a fight and a spat, and they break things, and they call each other names, and they call their in-laws names, and then they go back to living. The courts don't care about it, because you evidently didn't care about it. You didn't care about it enough not to resume your relationship with him. I don't care. And I'm not going to assist you in fixing things that he may have broken, that he may have done while you took him back. And you continued to live together. So your case is dismissed. Now, I'm going to get to the counterclaim. That's easy. Did he buy a deep freezer?
We purchased together.
Is that correct?
No.
Prove to me that you purchased it alone.
I have the receipt here, and it's my bank account. And,
okay, I'd like to take a look at it.
Okay. Here's the receipt, the treasure chest in the stereo system.
Now, what was purchased at Home Depot was $151.08. Do you have the receipt for the surround sound system? That's either a yes or a no.
No.
Okay. Do you have a receipt for a sectional?
So I have.
I'd like to see it.
Okay, hold on. Take that there. And this just because I financed it, but it says paid in full. That one's, yeah, that's the one that said paid in full.
What is this? This is a lease to own.
Right, it's just a paper up there that says paid in full, 0 for the furniture, and sectional in a queen size bed.
Okay. And this was 15th of December of 26, a customer receipt. Yes. Well, let me ask you the following questions before I go through all of these things. So this is all old stuff.
Yes.
Okay. And the day you bought her You say you bought her and then you turned off service, which is you have every right to do. And in what year was the iPhone 11 purchased?
The purchase 2021.
In what month?
March 27th.
When you moved back in?
Yes.
No.
Did you give it to her as a gift?
No, I have a business account, and by me having a business account, I'm able to get business phones, and so said, hey, I can get an extra iPhone.
Great. All right. You have your iPhone?
Yeah.
Great.
I still have it.
Great. Great. Did you put it on a new payment? That's
My
either
phone
a yes
number
or a no.
to it, I can't do anything with it. He cut it off, took my phone number, and
Just a second. So you can't do anything with it. Well, he's not going to pay for it. So frame it. I don't know what you want to do with it. Okay. When you lived together, did you have a joint bank account?
No, we did not.
Okay. Can you tell me, I have just a couple of bills for a 4-year-old bedroom set, which I know that the two of you used, and one is a receipt for $151.80 for he says he paid for it. You said we purchased it. Explain that to me.
I gave him like $50 on it. We purchased it together.
What about the bedroom set?
The bedroom set, he moved out. I have a receipt where I purchased my own furniture set right here. He brought his back, his bed, he sold. He only brought a mattress back, not the box spring. He sold the mattress to his friend last year for $50. So the bed isn't even there.
I'm not following you. When did you buy a new bedroom set?
I bought a bedroom set because he moved out once and he took what he bought, so December 2018, I bought a sectional and a bed. He brought his back broken.
Just a second. So you were living together in 2018 for a period of time? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
And when you separated back in January of 18 for a period of time, because I gather this was a back and forth, you're saying bedroom set with him?
Yes.
And you purchased another one?
Purchased another.
Is that what you're saying? Does that have a ring of familiarity to you?
Yeah, when I moved my furniture out at the time, in January.
Yes.
We end up getting back together, and it's a 2-bedroom apartment. And bring the furniture back, bring everything back, bring the TV back, all this and that. We're back together. So I bought all my furniture back. I bought everything back to. She did purchase another bed and another furniture set.
That the two of you used together?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then let me ask you this. So what you're telling me is that the bedroom, the only thing I'm interested in, I'm not interested in a 2-year-old freezer that cost $100. The bedroom set that you purchased was in the second bedroom?
No, it was in.
And what did you do with the one that she purchased?
The second bedroom.
Oh, I cannot believe I went to 10 years postgraduate school for this.
Yeah.
His father would be proud.
Of it, has accused her ex-fiancé, Mario Griffin, of vandalizing her car and harassment. Claims Danielle refuses to give back belongings he purchased.
Let me put it to you this way. Do you have any of his bedroom?
Nothing. Not there. Nothing.
Nothing. She has nothing.
Not bedroom.
She has nothing.
She's lying.
Okay.
No bed. Couch is there, broken.
Just a second. The couch is there, and it's in your apartment?
Yes.
Great. So you have 5 days to get it out. Do you understand? Okay. If you don't get it out of her apartment with a move days on notice to her as to what day you're coming, you will have considered the sofa abandoned. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. Out this case. Your claim is dismissed because of the reasons that I stated. You have my judgment. Do you understand?
Yes.
Court is adjourned.
Well, it wasn't fair because he did the damages, but he's still going to pay for it.
I kind of think it's anything, you know.
You know, whether we got back together, he still did it, so that was not fair at all.
I'm a truck driver, so I make a...
He could kick rocks. He could kick rocks.
She could use it for her benefits, you know.
He's a narcissist. He could find the next victim.
Glad. Hey, I'm gonna move on, you know. That's basically it.
So can you just explain a little bit why, if he did damage the home or the car, while getting back together, enough of an out for him to not be responsible for that sort of damage?
Well, I took a term that I learned in law school, which is, and when you sue for the damage that your mate, your spouse did during the course of a marriage, you may use a course of reason for a divorce, but courts can't go back and rewrite history Now she's going back 6 months and say, well, he broke the windows in my house and he's car. Well, evidently you weren't upset about it enough not to let somebody who had that propensity back into your life and back into your bedroom. So there's a good lesson for everybody, especially for women. Leopards don't change their spots, usually. Anyway, condonation. Be smart.
1088, Smothers versus Smothers. All parties, please step forward.
John Smothers is suing his twin brother, Chad Smothers, the profits from selling a house.
Mr. Smothers, this is your brother. It is your claim that he owes you your share of the profit from...
Yes, Judge.
I read your complaint. I read the answer. And it appears that you purchased 2 houses at auction.
Yes.
Did that take place?
2012.
And the purpose of purchasing the houses was for you and your brother to sell them at a profit.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a written contract with your brother?
I have no written contract.
So this was an oral agreement with regard to real estate?
Agreement. I bought the houses. The only reason he came to the auction was to put the houses in his name.
Listen, he put the houses in his name. The houses are in his name. If you say there was no agreement between the two of you to flip these houses, which I actually thought you said there was, houses were purchased in 2012. They were put in your brother's name, so he owns the 2 houses.
Your Honor, we did have an agreement. We gave the 2 houses together at the beginning, and one would be his and one would be mine.
That's not the agreement whatsoever. I bought the houses for me and her and eventually sell the other one. He had nowhere else to live. He had nowhere to go. Lost his job. So he moved into a house that was, for all intents and purposes, unlivable. There was no agreement or anything to the time he sold the house behind my back that he had anything to do but other than live in the house.
Smothers.
Yes.
You're the complainant, Jay Smothers. Let me read to you what you wrote in your sworn complaint. Chad is my identical twin brother. I was in the military, and when I was done, I was good at building and renovation, so I had the idea to start buying cheap properties, fix them up, and then flip them for profit. That's what you wrote. That's your first time I did this, I went to an auction with my children's mother and Chad. That would be you. I had to put the houses in my brother's name in order to get erroneous liens. I bought the 2 houses. I was going to live in one, and Chad and I were going to renovate both properties. That's what you're mistaken when you said that?
No, I was not mistaken.
Think about what you just said and what I just read to you that you wrote.
The houses were purchased for my plan, my idea. He had nowhere else to live. Yes, I eventually, when he moved into the house, I agreed that if he's going to live there and do work on it, no payment, no nothing, that he would be able to eventually, when we sold the house together, that yeah, he would get some of the money, but it wasn't his house to sell. It was my money, my plan, my investment during the auction.
He did sell the house. $2,700 into the house.
Keep going.
And I made it worth enough to sell.
You sold the house for $20,000, and then the next buyer sold it for $108,000. I feel like you stole that whole amount from me. It wasn't your property to sell, and if you sold it, you should have at least told me before you bought another house. And didn't even tell me, and I found out through a friend that you had this money now, and didn't even give me a single nickel off of it. Now, maybe we didn't have an exact agreement on how much you should get or how much I should get, and you only got $30,000 for it.
I got nowhere near.
Are they getting it out of their system? Yeah? Goodbye. Your case is barred by the statute of limitations.
He was living in a house. 2017, he sold it and didn't tell me that he even sold it.
I put all my blood, sweat, and tears into fixing that house up. He didn't do it.
I should have been able to at least get half of the money from the profit from him selling that house.
Not everyone always gets a return on their investment. Sometimes people lose money on their investments. I wish this didn't keep us from being brothers, but maybe we can work it out later.
Yeah, blood is thicker than water, but blood will hurt you just as worse as anybody else.
There's a perfect example of why courts insist that you bring your actions if there's a breach of a contract, if there's an accident, if there's a claim of negligence, within a reasonable period of time. But the theory of it is that memories are fresh, documents are fresh. This guy couldn't even remember his complaint to the story he just began to tell me. So there is a reason why courts insist that a case be fresh, because memories are clear.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम जी, क्या हाल है आप लोगों के। यार मुझे तकरीबन 1.5 साल हो गया है सऊदीया में बाइक राइडर के वीज़े पे, और यार एक दिन भी ऐसा नहीं गुजरा जब कफील ने कोई मसला ना किया हो। काम तो यार ये ठीक है, वैसे अगर बंदा मेहनत करने वाला हो तो बड़ा अच्छा बंदा इससे पैसा बना सकता है, इजीली बना सकता है, ठीक है, उसके लिए मसला नहीं होता। लेकिन मसला ये है कि भाई कफील बहुत तंग कर रहा है, बहुत ज़्यादा तंग कर रहा है। ये है कि हम 12-14 घंटे काम करते हैं, अपने 20-25-30 आर्डर जितने हो सके करते हैं। सैलरी के लिहाज से कफील ठीक है, सैलरी तो टाइम पे दे ही देता है, लेकिन सीन ये है कि यार कभी कभी ना एक बात करता है कि यार ये चीज़ ना 10 मिनट ये हो जाएगी, 10 मिनट बाद कहता है नहीं ये तो है ही नहीं, मैं तो जानता ही नहीं, आप कौन हो भाई, मैं तो आपको जानता ही नहीं। इस तरह करके ना वो हमें बड़ा जलील करता है। अब भी 4-5 दिन हो गए हम सारे लड़के बैठे हुए हैं आराम सुकून से, कुछ भी नहीं कर रहे, बस बैठे हैं, कभी इधर जाते हैं, कभी उधर जाते हैं, कभी ये करते हैं, कभी वो करते हैं। इसलिए हम लोगों ने सोचा कि यार चलो आज वीडियो ही बना लेते हैं, और कोई काम तो हमारा है नहीं। वैसे इधर कंस्ट्रक्शन का काम चल रहा है, वो देखो रोडे शोडे बना रहे हैं, बड़े ज़बरदस्त किस्म का सिस्टम चल रहा है, देखते हैं क्या होता है। लेकिन यार सऊदीया ठीक है यार, एक चीज़ है कि सऊदीया में ना आपकी ज़िंदगी शहरों की तरह हो जाती है, ना दिन का पता ना रात का पता। ठीक है, दिन को हम 12 बजे उठते हैं आराम से नहा धो के, 1 बजे खाना शाना खा के 2 बजे हम काम पे, रात को हम फिर 2 बजे तक काम करते रहते हैं। 12 घंटे तो कंफर्म करते ही करते हैं, क्योंकि आर्डर ही नहीं पूरे होते भाई। 12 घंटे काम करेंगे तो 15 से ऊपर आर्डर होंगे, और जब 15 से ऊपर हो जाते हैं तो कहते हैं यार 4-5 ऊपर लगा लें, क्योंकि किसी दिन का कोई पता नहीं है, शायद आज आर्डर लगे कल ना लगे। तो इसलिए ना हम टारगेट से ऊपर ही रखते हैं आर्डर, ताकि किसी दिन अगर मसला बन जाए, कोई बाइक ख़राब हो गया, कोई और मसला बन गया, एक्सीडेंट हो गया, कोई दोस्त बीमार हो गया उसको अस्पताल लेके जाना, कोई और मसला हो गया, कोई कंपनी बंद होगी, जिससे हम 4-5 दिन हो गए हम बैठे हुए हैं, पर हमारे आर्डर पूरे हैं। ठीक है, हमने एक्स्ट्रा किए हुए हैं, हमें मसला नहीं है। हम अगर आज काम पे जाते हैं, कितने मेरे ख्याल में 8-9 दिन रह गए हैं, आराम से हमारे मेरे ख्याल में मेरे कितने रहते हैं 180 आर्डर रह गया है। 180 आर्डर मैं 8-9 दिनों में आराम से कर लूँगा, मुझे इशू नहीं है। ठीक है, मेरे 500 हो जाएंगे। 500 पे हमें बड़ा अच्छा पैकेज मिलता है, कबीर हमें देता है 3500 रियाल। ठीक है, 500 आर्डर पे। 600 आर्डर पे हमें देता है मेरे ख्याल में 49,000 रियाल, 49,000 नहीं 49,000 दे तो मैं अभी गाड़ी ले लूँ। हाँ मज़े ही मज़े। लेकिन सीन यही है, देखते हैं क्या होते हैं। मिलते हैं आप लोगों को अगले व्लॉग में। अल्लाह हाफिज़।